Welcome on the track home, it's Demetori, the woman who sold the world, and sold the moon, I mean, sold the world. I wonder if that is a reference, actually. Anyway, yeah, I like this track. It's modern Demetori, and you know, it's hit or miss, really. Depends. Because I think you either like it or you don't. It's a bit like Marmite, I guess. Doesn't have the old sound or the old sort of composition style. But it is quite crisp and it's quite modern, and I do like it for that reason. It's also really heavily melodic, hence it being a Toho cover, which is heavily melodic. So that does matter in that case. But I do find it quite interesting. Like, there's a lot of different things going on in this track. So obviously got the heavy sort of rhythm guitars. It's got great melody and stuff, great tones as well. Obviously, you need a good tone for this sort of stuff. And then the composition itself is also really interesting. Yeah, but I actually wasn't thinking of this song before, weirdly enough, when I actually picked it, because it was actually a different track. Must have been the next one, but yeah, I like some parts in this which I really like. The transition into that sort of solo bit and the bridge is quite unique. It ends quite well as well, but it's just some good metal, really. There isn't really anything bad to say about it. It's less symphonic, I suppose, than other Demetori tracks, which is the only problem, I suppose. But yeah, I do like this, so I do think it is pretty interesting. So yeah, what do I even say? That's great. Let's move on to the first topic. Well, it's another win for physical media because this story really does push that point home. I just finished watching the on-the-air video on this, and apparently Claude AI deleted an entire database. Yeah. About that. So, like, this is a thing. I've said it before and I'll say it again because people need to fucking drill this point home so much so they think they've been assaulted. Like, yeah, it's graphic, but that's what's going to fucking drill it into your head. So listen. When you see something new and shiny, your first response shouldn't be, oh, that looks great, I'm going to enjoy this and love it, even just benefit from it. Your first response should be, how reliable is it? How many consequences does it have? And will it kill us? Yeah, because that's the third thing. The third thing should already be out of the question if it's like, well, you know, if it's like a normal product, not AI. Okay, I just got an AI slop video, doesn't recommend channel, fuck off. But this is the thing. So basically, what seems to be happening is all this AI that comes out is actually completely unsafe. It's not tested, it's not tried. It's just shipped out there at the moment it can be shipped, and it's not even tested for all the flaws. So you immediately have this issue with, well, yeah, like AI is going to be unreliable because it is just unreliable. As we know, it's always been fucking unreliable. Back when it was DALL-E, back when the first implementation of like, I forgot what it's called, Mid-Journey, I don't know, something like that. But there's also stuff like ChatGPT, which eventually came out. And yeah, it is always unreliable. Everyone was saying this. A lot of people ignored it, said, oh, it's inevitable, and yeah, we're going to have to accept AI at some point or another. And, what do you know, people don't want AI now, because it's now having consequences. Because yeah, I think someone probably predicted the RAM shortage of it. But on top of that, people also, well, actually it has been predicted rather, like 20 odd years ago, I think, by, guess who? Stephen Hawking. It literally said artificial intelligence, at least a small artificial or complete actually, I think it was complete he said. But he said that it would actually completely wipe out humanity, and this is kind of what we're seeing. This is only scraping the surface in terms of what it's capable of. So the fact it's able to destroy things is immediately a sign for a cause for concern. And then it being cognition is another issue, so if it does actually acknowledge things and have subjective feelings and can mimic a form of free will, I suppose is the way to put it, because I don't think there's ever going to be a perfect free will in AI. It's going to cause problems, and this is the case here, with an entire database being deleted, where anyone could see the problem. Like, literally anyone could see it. So it just doesn't make fucking sense when you consider this, really. It is literally a busted system with stupid ideas, and people are just grabbing onto it like it's like the best thing since sliced bread. Which is just, it's baffling as shit. I just can't wrap my head around why people even get on board with this shit, and it's like every time I go onto Blue Sky now I have to be careful with what I see, because a post can literally just be AI now. And literally last night when I was browsing I was like, oh, there's a nice cat video here, oh, that cat moved a bit strangely, that human moved a bit strangely too and didn't react to the cat. So it's like, okay, this has to be AI, stop. Like, there's no other reason that this looks so unusual. Jesus Christ. It's just fucking ridiculous. This is exactly what I mean. This is exactly where these problems start. Why they become so problematic. And then, you know, they look at this, and this is a thing that got me with this response. Literally, the fucking boss, who, by the way, doesn't even get punished for this, because I think that should be a punishment. But literally, they don't fucking get any sort of fine, they don't get any sort of like proper punishment of this, because yeah, like it's ridiculous. Because obviously they get away with it because the AI is not something you can hold accountable. Like, it's such a big fucking problem, and then the fact that the response was, oh, let's just find a different AI. Like, what the fuck are you on about? Are you kidding me? It's literally what is gonna fucking kill humanity and then kill people's jobs. And this is the other thing as well. When people say, like, oh, you have to accept AI for what it is, your job is on the line. Not from you saying that, but you actually basically allowing it to happen. You're not protesting, you're not doing any sort of direct action. So it is going to take your job eventually, whether you like it or not. It might even take a teaching job, for example. I don't know yet, but it's possible. And I've already seen that really creepy video of a fucking, I suppose, an AI doing a clean-up in the bathrooms. Although for some reason not cleaning the floor, which I'd argue is probably a priority, but that's another thing. But this is what I mean, it is replacing us, and you know, it's not the same as a self-checkout, because a self-checkout was basically, we're removing tills, we're removing people from the job, and whilst this does have the benefit of, obviously, people with anxiety or just not wanting to talk being able to do things, it's also turned out to be extremely unreliable. So when people say, like, oh, tills have always existed, self-checkout, whatever, and that wasn't a problem, it was a problem. It still is. Like, literally the last time I ever used one, probably last year. I can't even remember the last time I used one because I get so fucking annoyed with them. I'd rather just deal with the person who might even take longer. But the person, at least, can scan it, can identify an issue the moment it comes up, so they can actually say, oh, this item doesn't scan, I'm going to type it in instead, and that works. But a self-scanner doesn't always work, so it's going to pick up something and it won't work. I've had issues before like, as well. Actually, that reminds me, because I remember when I was having alcohol and I went to a shop near me, used the self-checkout, went to scan the alcohol, and it said, wait for assistance, scanning verification, and then the assistant asked me for ID. Like, motherfucker, I've got a beard, I've got pubes, like, and I'm big as fuck. Like, how am I not 18 or over 18 anyway? It's so dumb, and that's again the problem with reliability there. I get the verification thing, but it was a bit stupid to have me again not show my ID when it's quite obvious that I am a person. You know, a self-checkout of all things. Why the fuck am I being interrogated for that when people on the till don't ever ask me? And the same with when I've scanned for alcohol before and never been intervened in that. Like, it just doesn't make sense. But as I said, self-checkouts are unreliable. There's still many consequences to it. And I still see even like queues for it for some fucking reason when tills are like almost empty. Like, it's just nuts. Yeah, I don't even really know what to add other than also keep backing up your shit. You know, this is all an argument for piracy, by the way. So when we don't have physical forms of media, or at least media that's in our hands, when it's just left to, well, you know, companies like Netflix or Disney or Hulu, whoever, the problem is that can be deleted the moment they introduce an AI. You know, one that deals with the behind the scenes, but generative AI can also probably be dangerous too. And then when those things disappear, the TV shows you love, the movies you love, you know, there's not going to be anything left, because they don't do DVDs anymore, they don't really do VHS especially, they don't even do floppy disks. But yeah, this is another argument for physical media being absolutely superior. No matter the legal status, or even in some cases the moral status of these things, in my opinion it's not immoral to pirate things anymore. I think it's entirely justified, because to be honest the world is in a shit place, and yeah, like, nobody can afford anything, so you have to make compromises, unfortunately, in this world. But you know, this just justifies it. Like, it's literally the entire point of it. And you know, there is this big crackdown on trying to deal with piracy, but the problem is you're cracking down on an argument for piracy because it means that it is effective. Actually, I've said that wrong, I think. You're cracking down on your own service, basically, meaning that you're making it less accessible. Because look at this, the prices are absurd. In fact, a premium Netflix subscription is £18. It's fucking ridiculous. And then to even view it, you need to pay money. Like, what? Are you fucking kidding me? Well, that's stupid. And then the biggest home run you could ever do with this sort of thing is basically lowering that price to a reasonable price. Like £5 for everything. And then doing cheaper for the other options, so that even the poorest people can actually have access to it. Now there's a marketing strategy, but whether they listen or not, that's your problem. You know, when you're losing profits, when you go bankrupt in a few years' time, that's your issue. You know, you wanted this and you got it. So it's not our problem in the end. And again, it becomes an argument for piracy, because then where does all that stuff go? Like, where do I get Demon Slayer? Where do I get Beastars, for example? Even though I'm not a massive fan of Beastars, to be honest. Or even like Dark. I'm trying to think of other shows on there. Breaking Bad, probably. I think Breaking Bad was on there. But you know, when that's disappeared, where else are you going to get it? Nobody's going to buy it. Nobody's going to transfer it. They're going to trash all the fucking data centers. So again, it's an argument for piracy. Again and again. Because AI even does this. Like, this is what I'm talking about. AI encourages it. Because everything's dangerous. the only safe place for ownership is again either in like DVD form or on your storage devices. Well, that's the only place where it's safe now. Not online, nothing. So yeah. Anyway, that's not a great way to open this. There's probably going to be more to talk about because I need to do my browsing yet. But holy shit, this does piss me off because it's just what is going on in the world. Is that there war, cost of living crisis, AI bullshit, like infighting, rise of fascism. It's just everything is going fucking wrong at this point. And it's only a matter of time before I start to see the physical or other knock-on effects of it. But I know there's like some issue near where I live locally. I don't know what it was though. Can't even say what it was because there's no like news story. I could look it up again. Like yeah, it's very weird. No, still nothing. So it's no like news or anything. But you know, I think they're covering shit up too. So yeah, it's really shitty. I don't really know where the world's going or if anything's safe anymore. It's hard to say. But yeah. Anyway, I think I better move on because I've got stuff to do it again. Sorry I keep saying it. But that is what happens when my mind's all over the place and I'm busy. So yeah. Anyway, let's move on to the next topic. So here's a realisation I had about the Palestine thing, and I don't know if it's stupid or not, but you know, Israel's excuse consistently is they think they're dealing with Hamas, who obviously were apparently responsible for the November 7th, was it, or October 7th? I can't remember actually. God, my memory is going as a result of sleep deprivation and mental health issues, but anyway. There's a realisation I had about this that I think is actually pretty important, which is basically about the problems around this, as in proving it. And one of the other things I realised that I hadn't realised before, surprisingly, is why the fuck aren't they just going after Hamas? Because as far as I know, the entirety of Palestine isn't actually Hamas. Yeah, they're targeting civilians, unarmed people, children. Women and children, not even keeping prisoners of war, for example. Like, they're not even locking down the place like they should have to deal with this problem. So yeah, they could have barged in, guns blazing obviously, so they make a point of not shooting them. But you're basically disarming everyone. And you're getting to the bottom of the issue, which is Hamas. So if this was actually about Hamas, why the fuck aren't they just going straight to them? So if they know where the governmental bodies are, assuming they know, like why aren't they just going for this? Like why aren't they just having a discussion and instead doing these war crimes? That's the thing that doesn't make sense about this. Like something that I genuinely can't wrap my head around. Because this just even proves further that Israel is in the wrong. No matter what. Like, terrorist attacks happen almost every fucking day, I'm pretty sure of it. It varies from country to country in severity and stuff, because, you know, gun laws in the US, no gun laws in the UK. Well, except for, you know, not having guns. But, you know, it's different places. And they happen a few times, but we don't declare war when that terrorist is someone of a different ethnicity or religion. That's not how you deal with terrorism. Frankly, it's incredibly fucking stupid. This is why I say, if this was about Hamas, like they said, why aren't they going after the government? Why instead the people? And you know, given the amount of deaths now there are, I think it's like in 81,000 now, it's an insane amount. I'm not sure how many died in World War II, but it's worth mentioning the Holocaust killed many people, and that was again for a similar reason to this. like a disagreement on religion, on faith, and essentially assuming that everyone of this faith is evil. It's very similar, eerily similar, rather. But yeah, again, I just want to know the reason why, because it's clearly not Hamas at this point. Because if it were, they would have been escalating things through that body. But yeah, there's like no transparency, and it also doesn't help that there isn't really, at least anymore, there can't be, because they've already destroyed a lot of the infrastructure as far as I know. There's no response from, governmental bodies in Palestine, so with regards to, like, whatever it's called at this point, I don't fucking know. There's like no response, which worries me, because that does mean there's something really wrong here. And it does mean that Israel are again in the wrong, because they're not given a chance to respond, they're not given any sort of leniency. It's just, you're evil but you're wrong, die. And it's consistently pushed through the media. And I also read recently, as a post here actually in Blue Sky, which said Israel pulls $730 million into a propaganda machine to hide their horrible actions. This was only $150 million the year before, which was 20 times what it was before 2023. Yeah, also they are hiding things. Like, why would you pour that much money into propaganda? It's obvious that they're paying off organisations and politicians. This money is probably going to Keir Starmer, it's probably going to Donald Trump. Actually, it is going to Donald Trump. What the fuck am I saying? You've literally seen Donald Trump and Netanyahu in the same room. But this is the danger. This is what corruption and lies do, unfortunately. I'm just stating the facts. This isn't some secret, this isn't some attack on anyone. It is just the facts. So, I don't know anymore. I just felt like bringing this up because it is I don't know what it's called. It's not brainworm, is it? And that's a different thing. It's something anyway. So, tickle. I don't know if that's the point for that. I better move on because this is frustrating. Well, mindless political discourse again. I don't know. It's one day until the local elections, so maybe this gets silent, but you never know. But the thing is, though, people have already gotten their votes through. So, I can't even change mine, for example, but I don't think I will anyway. Because this is a hard fact. Whether or not someone makes an ass of themselves of their party days before the election is completely irrelevant. Because I've had a look, and there's apparently a lot of like smear articles, which for some reason people fucking believe. I don't know why. Where they're now targeting Zach, and now the Guardian is on board with this. Where previously they just weren't really giving a shit, but now they're literally doing it a lot. So like all these recent news stories from today, 13 minutes ago. POLIITCS defends Green Party's policy to legalise hard drugs. And the regulator is important. I missed that part. But yeah, it is important. I can't remember where they actually did it. I swear there was a country where they actually did it successfully. It's not really an argument against them. Drugs are already a problem in the UK. And the reason people die from them is because there's no fucking help. And also people are in such a bad state anyway, from the cost of living, that drugs can be the only escape. The people use it as a fucking escape at this point, and it's just really dumb. Yeah. And apparently Zach defended his concern about how a suspect was treated by police. And let's read this one. Zach defended expressing concern that the suspect was treated and got agreements for stabbings. Green Leader has apologised for reposting on social media and implied the police used excessive force during the arrest. He said he should have raised the issue in this way, which is fair. But when he interviewed on the Today programme, he said it's important for people to be treated properly, even if they had done horrific things. When Nick Robertson put it to him by reposting the controversial tweet, he was implying that he empathised with the... What? Empathise? Is that even a fucking word? I thought it was empathised. Empathised anyway with the attacker, not the police officers. POLIITCS said he did not accept that. He said, "My very first response to the attack was to be horrified, as everyone was, I'm sure. And the first thing I posted was solidarity with the victim, to the family, and indeed the people who are suffering now." POLIITCS said that he was Jewish himself, and for the Jewish people's safety was not an abstract issue. He went on, "Two things can be true at the same time. Officers are incredibly brave when they run towards the scenes of crimes that most people, including myself, I want to run away from. At the same time, I think it's accurate, and I was also traumatised by seeing someone handcuffed and kicked in the head. I think the sign of compassionate society is how we treat people, even people who have done horrific things, because actually the way we do justice in this country is in court." Well, that's the thing. I'd have to respond to it as soon as they post here. That's sort of where I thought the post was coming from anyway, as a compassionate response, but even then I sort of have to disagree, because it is compassion in its own way. You know, the guy was clearly not right in the head to have already stabbed two people and then approached the police officers, knife in hand. Like, what sort of compassion are we supposed to show there? Are we supposed to say, like, offer flowers and say, "Oh, you know, drop that knife and we'll give you these flowers. Yeah, it's fine. Not gonna hurt you, just go put you in handcuffs." That's not how it fucking works. Like, as much as I want a peaceful society, I'm very much on board with the idea of using compassion a lot of the time. This isn't that case. It's the same as if someone had a gun. You wouldn't be like, "Here's some flowers, you know, drop down on the floor, say, you know, safely, gently, or whatever." That's not how it works. So obviously, Zach is still wrong here. It's weird how he did double down on it. Again, I get his perspective, but I don't really get it from this perspective. Because the guy is obviously pretty fucked up for stabbing two people. He's dangerous. He needed to be disarmed. And I think the kick in the head, well, if he's already restrained, it's like not much of an issue now. So I don't know, maybe there is some misuse of justice here. But, you know, if he's already restrained, which I did see in the footage anyway, and he's disarmed, you know, then there's no reason to kick. But he was still holding the knife and refusing to let go, also until the officer kicked him in the head. Like, this is a case where you have to look at the footage yourself and respond to it, saying that, yeah, that you have to look at it yourself and see what they were seeing. And again, the footage is out there, I've seen it, and I'll go through it again just to show you, because I'm pretty sure it's there. What is green body cam, because that is a thing, obviously. Guardian posted it today. Hopefully it's not stupid editing and shit. Yeah, asking to get down on the ground. Guys approaching for some reason with a knife in hand still. They're being tasing him. And then he's on the ground. And the trooper held onto the ground, pushed onto it. And then the officer kicking him, and there we go. Like, literally forcing him to drop the knife, and there we go. So yeah, like, this is justified. Like, there's no such thing as compassion when this arsehole who just stabbed people is not letting go of the knife. Assuming he's, like, not being electrocuted here, which is another issue. Because when you're electrocuted, you get completely frozen in place. I've seen this multiple times. Like, your muscles tense up and you can't actually move anything. So there is that issue, but, you know, if he wasn't being electrocuted as well, it could also be dangerous. So, like, this is absolutely justified. It's fine to just fucking kick him in the ground. Like, I still side with Zach on a lot of things here. But this is something I can't side with. It's just really bad. Literally. Like, yeah. But again, there's like a lot of anger as well, so this is the other thing. This is how I'd respond to it as well. Because I forgot to mention this in the last one, but the other way I would respond to this is, like, I wish there was a way this could have been responded to more compassionately. But, well, because obviously for the victims, and it also, what's the other thing I was going to say? It's left my head now. It's distracted by thumbnails, that's probably why. Well, actually, I don't even know. It's probably, mine's just completely blanked. You know, that's kind of the point, though. Of showing compassion wherever possible, but you can't really show it to someone who's just attempted murder, and that's just a non-negotiable. I think the way to respond to that is to say that, yeah, you just need to apologise basically as a response, because this is a real issue, and even though, that was it, I remember now, there's a lot of hatred in the world, and that's what's propping up all these ideas that now Zach is an evil person for defending this, but this is what I mean. It's all this bloody hatred that creates this divide and creates these problems. And, you know, the entire campaign behind the Greens at the moment is hope, not hate. And, you know, even though this response doesn't really, I wouldn't say provoke, I don't know, invoke that, that's probably not the term. It doesn't invoke hope, because it literally is the opposite. You're saying that you should have treated someone who was dangerous with compassion. Like in my example, like offering flowers. Like, that's not doing any good. Because, you know, violence needs violent responses. It's sort of like what I call the hierarchy of stairs, I suppose. And in order to get over the first step, you need to overcome the next. And, you know, when someone's attempted murder, the best option is to do something a bit better. So, I'll say they've used like a flimsy fucking knife to do it. You have to disarm them, and they did the right thing by tasering it first, but when they obviously couldn't let go, or refused to let go, after being restrained, you know, they have to take the next step, and that is to kick the person in the fucking head. But I would have said they maybe could have stepped on the arm a bit more, like use their leg on the arm, because that's really where it's most dangerous. Like, you have to remember, police officer uniforms I think weigh quite a fair bit, not a ton though, but that's going to be heavier. Your body weight is going to be heavier than their arm strength. So they're not going to be able to lift you up exactly. You know, step on the hand, and you know, you're safe for the most part. And yeah, and you'll probably disarm them better like that. So admittedly, there is a way for the police to improve here. I get the heat of the moment stuff, so I'm not criticising that. Yeah, it's a very rough situation, obviously. But there is a better way to respond to it, which I can sort of agree with. And also promoting the idea that we shouldn't be obviously hating each other for this. Like, again, I think a lot of green people for some reason will turn on Zach for this for some reason, but this is exactly what he means with hope, not hate. You're just proving him right. And this is why Reform is such a dangerous party to even have come up in these elections, because their politics is the politics of hate and not compassion. So when it comes to welfare cuts, for example, and you see the Reform voter base going, no, you can't do that, you fucking moron. And then they say, like, we hate you. Like, that's what I mean. Politics of hate. Like, am I blind or deaf? Am I missing something? I don't know. I made my point here. Basically just doing better actions, I suppose, and again putting the point out there that this is why we promote hope, not hate. and obviously I think the force was sort of justified in this situation anyway. So anyway, let's look at the other things here. So FFXIV accuses Times scraping the barrel over his claim to be a charity spokesperson. So I heard about this one. This is what I was going to respond to. So where's the quotes here? A host of various fundraisers for the British Red Cross and I indeed would go on stage and speak with them, speak for them about the amazing work they do tackling humanitarian crises, on climate crisis, and indeed for refugees around the world. I use the wrong word and I accept that, but I would essentially take words on stage with me and speak. It's important though, and I accept this, British Cross don't support any political party and I made sure that claim has been taken down. FFXIV attacked the Times publishing what he described as an anti-Semitic cartoon of him last week. They should apologise for that, he said. But sometimes these stories are scraping the barrel to go back 10-15 years ago. I've had so many friends and they should talk in 20 or 30 in the last few weeks who have phoned me and said the Times journalists have been phoning and they've been trying to find things about your past. They asked a lot of questions, seemed disappointed that I didn't have some juicy dirty gossip. There was a lot more in the interview and I'll post more from it sooner. Yeah, I did see the Red Cross post, but I don't know where the spokesperson thing came from. Again, I haven't seen a source for this. I'll check HYPERSKY because I did ask for this. That's funny on those image things at 8647. Anyway, yeah, there's no source for this. I've seen the post about commending the work that the British Red Cross did and being there with them, but I don't see the spokesperson claim. And yeah, it's the wrong word, but I think people say that all the fucking time. They say the wrong words at the wrong times, and I think because there's so much going on as well, and also all the things going on around Zach specifically, which I'm pretty sure he's aware about, it's not surprising he's going to confuse things as well. And the gold screen thing really set us off, but also the British Red Cross as well. Like this is going to do it. It doesn't surprise me that he's mixing words up. It was only a matter of time because he had such a good track record of speaking very plainly and simply on various interviews and stuff. And, you know, even then it shows that he's just still human. It's not like he's claiming to be the leader of the fucking charity. He's not claiming to be one of the workers in them. Or was he a worker actually? Host of various fundraisers, so I guess maybe he was leading some of them. Not as in the company, but leading some events. But he wasn't again the top person in the charity, which I think would be a worse thing to say. So it's not even like he's saying the worst thing about himself. He's not even saying he's like God and all that, which is where it would be an issue. When I draw the line here, and this is the thing with when I set the goalpost, he literally just has to be completely bigoted to delude himself into thinking he's in a higher position when he was working in the charity. And yeah, but also given how long ago it was and how much has changed, it doesn't surprise me as well if you forget details. So I'm trying to think, what's the last thing I can remember the details on? I'm trying to think actually. I guess school is probably the closest thing, but then again, college. I can't remember actually. Yeah, I guess college actually is a good example because I got 2 diplomas in IT before obviously dropping out on the 3rd level because too much mental illness. But I can't remember what I got on the diplomas. I think one was a merit and the other was a distinction, I believe. So the highest possible grades. But I passed those and someone could just come out and say you didn't get a merit or distinction, you got a pass, and I don't know if I did or not. I don't have the info. I have the diplomas somewhere. I haven't looked at them in a long time. But I can't remember all this. It's over 10 years ago. And a lot has changed since. So I know, like, fair for corrections, but, you know, it doesn't really matter. So yeah. Anyway, there's apparently another post that's talking about this. POLIITCS claims anti-Semitism amongst Green candidates limited to anaphoric casing, but vetting and training need to be beefed up. Yeah, I've heard about this. FFXIV has said party will introduce compulsory training to make it clear anti-Semitism is completely unwelcome. Demetori is speaking in his Today programme interview when asked about multiple examples of Green Party candidates in local elections making anti-Semitic comment. What? Like they press attacked the Greens relentlessly over this, and today they now has posted a splashed honour report accusing 30 candidates of anti-Semitism. When Nick Robertson quoted some of the worst examples, POLIITCS replied, "These messages are all unacceptable, and it's important to condemn that. The Green Party are an anti-racist party, and it's important we stick to our values." When it was put to him that some of the candidates implied the Greens were not an anti-racist party, POLIITCS went on, "We're an anti-racist party, and so I've already committed to doing what I've already committed to doing is making sure that we have standardised and vetting process in the future, and also make sure that we have compulsory training of all our candidates, and to make it clear that anti-Semitism completely unwelcome in the party, as it is in society. It's also important to say that one case of anti-Semitism is one too many. This is a handful of cases we actually have over 4,500 candidates. New post, just ruined it. 4,500 candidates, the vast majority of which are doing amazing work in their communities right now. POLIITCS also said that this issue was not abstract from him. He is Jewish, and said 2 people have been arrested in the past 6 weeks over offence against them. So I saw something related to this on Facebook, a video supposedly of this, where some random old guy, I think it was AI because it couldn't be anything else, was basically saying that Israel should be bombed and stuff. They hate Israel, and it's like such an obvious fucking staging or AI. Like, it's so fucking blatantly obvious. It genuinely shocks me that people are this stupid to actually believe that. It's like if someone in Reform said, "I support progressive politics." Now, I think it's great. I love having lesbian sex with my lesbian girlfriend, even though I'm a cisgender guy. Like, it's something stupid like that. But I guarantee you that's something that's probably staged, if that does ever happen. But here's the other thing with this, and I'm surprised that it maybe wasn't mentioned, but maybe it needs to think about it more. But I think it's infiltration. There's no other reason this couldn't be. Because if you look at it this way, the amount of funding that other parties have had, and then doing these campaigns against the Green Party for some reason, just days before these local elections, I literally think that this is just infiltration. There's something really fishy about this. Because there's way too many attacks going on, and they're again trying to scrape too many things. Again, being called like 30 or 20 times by friends being called to dig up dirt on Zach, I mean. Like, this is obviously sabotage. Like, this should be illegal. And in fact, I think every party involved in doing these smear campaigns like this, like doing really severe things like this now, infiltration likely. Like, because I really don't think it could be a case where someone joins the Green Party, thinks, yeah, I'm going to be a candidate, and then do something anti-Semitic, which seems unusual given Zach is obviously Jewish, and also this anti-racist stuff. Like, you know, the Green Party are anti-racist from what I can tell. They actually have, I think, foreign people in the party, if I'm not mistaken. Lots of different skin colours, but, you know, the people who are coming out saying that it's racist, it literally fucking isn't. Like, where's the proof? Well, that's the other thing I keep asking with this. Where is the actual proof? So I don't even know where it's even from. So it's a bit ridiculous. So yeah, do feel like this is kind of bullshit. It does feel like infiltration again, because it just seems like there's a lot of sabotage, obviously with that video being proof of that. But it just feels like a lot of sabotage at this point. Yeah. Let's see. Is there anything else? No. Okay, I think that's it now. But bloody hell, there's a lot to go through. But yeah. It's a bit annoying, really, to see all this, because again, no matter what happens now, again, even if they do go the racist route, it's like, they're still going to be the best fucking party in the country. Because all the policies, all the steps they've taken are the correct ones. So it's just fucking ridiculous. And admittedly, I'd rather hear from, like, residents of places where they're going to be Green MPs say that they're actually good. Like, it's just, it's so fucking annoying. God, I'm already delayed on my task today, but Jesus Christ, I'm tired of this shit. Why do I have to keep responding to this? Like, people need to fucking grow up and actually look at things properly. There's literally no hope in this because of people's behaviour. And that is unacceptable. That's as bad as what Zach's doing. It really says something. Jesus Christ. Anyway, I better move on, as my throat's starting out too. Just excuse me, I've got a mint in my mouth, but I felt like talking about this because it's related to politics, and it should be a brief one anyway. But I regret to inform people that I voted wrong. And no, it's not for the reason you're thinking. I haven't given up on the Green Party, in fact I still believe in them. But I assume that people, when I brought up tactical voting even last year, because that was the thing I was talking about, I assumed people weren't doing it. I assumed it was just, oh, well, nothing's going to change. Everyone's just going to vote for their own party. But no, turns out they are doing it. And there's like different sites for it. And I didn't even know this until today. Which is really fucking awkward and embarrassing. So, I don't think it's as big of a deal that I've voted wrong with this. Again, in line of the tactical voting. But I do wish I can take back the vote and do the correct one. Because, you know, there is someone else to vote for here, even though I don't like the party. The tactical vote leads me to support them instead. However, I of course voted Green. And, yeah, that's quite embarrassing, but people should be tactical voting, hopefully. But yeah, this is like so annoying because this is the thing, people stay silent on this until it obviously matters most. And I've been warning about this since last year. Again, based on facts, I'm not just doing some sort of anti-reform campaign, I'm listening to what they're doing, looking at what they're doing. And they are fucking over the country. And then my suggestion on the tactical vote, I'm pretty sure people met that with, at least when I brought it up in my comment sections, people said, oh no, you can't do that. It's not going to work, and you know, we're just going to lose. But that obviously isn't the case. And now on Blue Sky, it's suddenly blowing up. If the Reform UK sort of mentions that people now want to tactically vote. Like, what? This is what I mean when there's such a stupid divide on the left. You know, we have to establish some sort of constitution, in a sense. Because without that, we're fucking doomed to this bullshit constantly in the UK where fascists and idiots get to vote for what they want. As in, the politics that are going to destroy the country, and then we should be able to just absolutely remove the right to vote for a party based on the politics they push, or even just the violence. Like, because free speech is important, but hate speech is a different thing entirely. Because it becomes hate speech when you're making comments, like I saw earlier, rather, on here, like a Reform MP saying we should fill the potholes with Nigerians, like melt them, fill the potholes with them. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's just blatant hate speech, and even then, it's like it's saying literal bigotry, it's saying hatred. Like, it's just insane. And I just don't get why there is this bullshit around, like, the divide here. Because these people are blatantly bad, and we're arguing about who the best leftist is to vote for, but at this point it doesn't matter. We need to have a tactical vote, go with what people are saying and what they're essentially saying is best. And I put my thing in, and I got, again, the party I don't necessarily agree with entirely, but the party was at least left, and I can at least say that. But it's so frustrating to see this, and then where I say that the constitution that we need is to do with getting rid of corruption and bullshit, is stuff like the donations. So Labour will be out. Don't know anything about the Conservatives, so I can't comment on them. But I'd also take out Reform because they're essentially corrupted. They've been donated to by a third party, obviously, and they're putting the world at risk. Because, yeah, it is about the world. And the UK, when it goes under, it turns tits up, or hypnotits, wait, what? But when that happens, we're absolutely fucked, and, we'll get into wars where everything is just, it's so fucking weird. But they'll get us into wars, they'll get us into bad situations, they'll get us into civil war. Which is again why I say there needs to be a bloody constitution. Because America has it. Although they're not following it, I still think it's good to establish something. This way people follow it, and there is even a clause where the public has an obligation to overthrow. And this is based on fact. There's like almost like a court ruling sort of thing. Except it's a court of unbiased and uncorrupted people who get a massive paycheck as it is. But obviously they also need to be inspected by like the public and stuff, so they should be subject to routine inspection and investigation just based on that. So this is what I mean with writing a bloody constitution. It's just get rid of this bullshit we're seeing. And we won't need to have tactical votes, because in the end it'll be left versus right, as it used to be. And the only scary thing we'd see is probably welfare cuts from the right, and the left have made an arse of themselves again. I prefer it when politics was like that, but not like it is now. It's like life or death. Those are all you vote for. So yeah, it's really, really fucking disappointing. I genuinely do not understand why this is happening again. So yeah, I think I will move on now. So I'm pretty sure I've done everything. Yeah, I do hate to inform, rather. Regret to inform. Both, really. That I did the wrong vote. It's not going to mean we lose, I don't think, because it's looking good based on the party that's winning, tactically voting. But I'm not happy that I made this mistake. I wouldn't vote against Green, just because I dislike Green. I love the Green Party. As far as I know, they're doing the right things. Zach is a bit of a slippery slope at the moment. That can be admitted. But it's the best job we got. And again, this other party, I hope they do win. Anyone but Reform or Conservatives or Labour, I don't care. As long as it's not a far-right party like them, I'm personally happy. So yeah. And when we get to the detention camps, they'll be dismantled. So yeah, anyway, let's move on. Okay, so a bit of fun news finally. Just kidding. I'm just kidding about that as well. Yeah, fun news. But I'm working on some artwork, and this one's going to be Final Fantasy XIV related. So yeah, I don't think it's what people necessarily will expect, unless you obviously know my favourite job, sort of, based on aesthetics, and you know about my character, who is a bit of a joker himself. But yeah, I've been working on this for like a few days now, and I'm finding things. Actually, there's another thing to fix there. I just realised something upon looking at it. But I'm already happy with how this is turning out so far, because I've already got two very golden things going on here. So perspective I'm sort of nailing a bit, which is good. Because I usually struggle on this, but I'm a bit worried about how I'm going to do the rest of it. But it's looking like it's going to be very... like the idea is going to be very fun, and I reckon it has a potential to become really popular. I don't even know. It seems like it could be the type of artwork where, even though people are maybe a bit funny about making your OC, I think it would be very well received for the most part. And I actually figured out a name for it, because initially I was just thinking a generic name describing what's happening, and then I decided, you know what, I need to find a new name for this, because it's not actually very fitting to do just a generic name for this, especially with how popular it could potentially become. Like, I'm really not sure. So for some reason I just made... yeah, that's it. Made a fucking note, and it looks like a bunch of gibberish for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know what's happened to it exactly. I need to change the font of that in that case. It's because of caps, I think. There we go. Yeah, I remembered another thing to add to the final image, which will be interesting. But I think this has a lot of sort of potential, because it is quite funny. I've already got a really funny idea for this, and it's probably going to be one of my best pieces of artwork yet, just because of the idea and I think how it's probably going to be executed. I'm really happy with how this is turning out so far, which is very rare, because I usually see issues the moment I get into this, and I did really encounter one actually, like the second point of the image, but I eventually got it to a point where I think I'm happy with it, but I'm gonna have to like make compromises here and there. You know, I've got different ideas, and that's just gonna be the thing. Also, I need to write that down actually. I'll get my tab out again, because I need to mark things when they're done and just what they're supposed to be. So that's make it transparent, so it's not easy to figure out. That one's going to be that. This one's going to be that. Yep. But I'm just finding it surprising. The only thing I dread about doing this is probably a bit of the... oh, what is it? The background, that's it. Because I think the background's going to reference an area which I do love, but because of just me being shit, I don't think I'm going to put that much effort into it. And it might just end up being like a cleverly done image where it's like, rather than a full background like I usually do, it'd be like a partial background. So talking like cutting areas where it actually adds to the detail by cutting it. Just crazy. I've got plenty of space for different things going on here, but yeah, again, I don't really know. So I can get rid of some reference images because I have to change things and figure out things too. But yeah, just wanted to let people know about this. I think it's kind of cool. I'm hoping it turns out as good as I think it will, especially with like popularity too. It's also a very unique idea, I think. It could be wrong. It does seem that way. I've not really seen anything like this done before. You know, it's the political bullshit we're seeing at the moment. One thing that is kind of interesting that is pointed out on Blue Sky is basically how it looks as though, well, how do I even say this? It looks like smear campaigning doesn't work, because Green votes are at an all-time high now, it seems. On to what was it, poll records? That was only show that it's fine out now. Basically their poll showed that the Greens are tying with Tories, but just below reform. Yeah, they're only like 5 votes away there, is that? Yeah, 5. Which is insane, and it shows that if people tactically vote, if all these Lib Dems of SNP and Played, whoever, I forgot they're called, Played soon, I can't read that without zooming in. Similar, I can't even say that. But if everyone here votes, even just a portion of them each, you know, it will literally be the Greens winning. So people really do need to vote Green, because this is fucking important. It's the only way we can avoid Trump's America and its infiltration. It's the only way we can see suitable and, well, livable conditions in the UK. Like, Jesus Christ, it's actually fucking insane. But you know, this is what I'm talking about when I say this. It is literally hope or hate, life or death. That's what it is coming down to now. Admittedly, we don't know for certain if there will be deaths, but knowing what Reform are doing, they actually intend to completely fuck us over. And just fuck us all up. Like, it's so weird, but so frustrating as well. Yeah, I'm trying to think. What is there else to even say? It again just looks like Greens are absolutely fucking nailing it at the moment. It's crazy how every single policy they've ever talked about is, yeah, like, it's just crazy. Like, what? Yeah, it's been like, this is the thing, that's what I'm getting to. The amount of smear campaigns from Greens, though, nothing. If you go on Zach Polanski's page, anywhere that it's been, like Blue Sky or Facebook, you don't even see any sort of smear campaigns. There's nothing like that. There is no, oh, we hate Reform, we're going to do this if Reform wins. It's like the Greens aren't doing that. It's like, what the fuck? It's just nuts, and every single time they're showing up, there is like nothing here that's incriminating the Green policy, and it's just so consistent, and it's a breath of fresh air. Like, the only thing that's even remotely close, and actually I don't know why I'm not even following Green pages. Let me look, Green Party of England and Wales. Let's see. What have they been posting? So, yeah, like promotional videos, which are fair. Although they haven't posted the tactical voting, but I wonder if that's because it's a Wales thing. I could be wrong. But they're posting on Blue Sky about tactical voting, which I thought was really interesting, because they even suggested, on the one hand, one of the places, I think it was Ipswich, they were saying tactically vote Green or Labour. It's just a weird choice, and there's apparently details, although I didn't read them. But it's interesting that they're even doing this. The fact they're on a tactical voting. And they post memes as well. Vote Reform, get Starmer out. Vote Labour to stop Reform. Yeah, literally the Spider-Man meme. Yeah. It's just absolutely nuts, but there's not a single smear campaign on here other than, like, you know, Keir Starmer is a problem. They've repeated that, we all know it. We all know he's a problem. And also stopping Reform. And, you know, they've explained the problems with Reform, but what Reform do are absolute character attacks and seemingly policy and law violations. So it shows the, obviously, like, state of politics at the moment. You know, it's less about character attacks and more about anything else. That's interesting. That guy in the video was saying to bomb Israel site. It's actually a candidate. Is that right? Anthony Slaughter. What the fuck? Yeah, it's weird how they're using him for an AI video. It's just very strange. Unless it was like a satire, I don't know. So yeah, it's just very strange. I think the fact that there's no smear campaigns from the Greens is just genuinely interesting. It's kind of a crazy and unprecedented situation given what every other party is doing. I guarantee if I go back to Reform, let me look. Reform UK. Alright. What are they doing? The Conservatives and they have failed Britain. Reform UK is the real opposition. Fucking stupid. Also, this looks AI because I don't know. I'm not going to play the videos. Bit suspicious though. Reform UK live. What the fuck? Also, the text on that top one is cut off. But it's like the same camera angle, same position, same lighting. That is very suspicious. I might have been correct in saying that Nigel Frosh is just AI posting himself. As much as I, again, can agree on bashing Labour at this point, also Keir Starmer, especially, not just Labour as a whole, it's just Keir Starmer mainly. It's fucking weird. They target the Greens for some reason. It's just a lot of shit here. They have a podcast, oh god. There's not much down, and also going back down to the thing where they said they're going to put detention camps over it anyway. Yeah, I just felt like mentioning this because it's kind of interesting anyway. Just, it's so unusual that, again, there's like no smear campaign from the Greens, but everyone else is like, yeah, fuck the Greens. Like, what? Like, that just means Greens are going to get more votes, you idiots. Like, what are you fucking saying? Even then, people who found themselves with an echo chamber, as I mentioned in a Blue Sky post, is sort of, if you don't keep your hate in control, if you don't have self-control over it, it's going to consume you. And it is. That's what's bloody fucking happening here. It's just textbook what's going on. It's just so weird. Yeah. I don't really know what to add, really. Anyway, I think I will move on to the next topic, if there is one. Completely forgot. Wait, it's recording? I don't know. I completely forgot to talk about this before, but it's pretty ironic when the UK tended to mock the US for obviously being, well, incredibly stupid, and it's something that I think we've always sort of known. I hate to say it, because it's like this existed years ago, long before anything else. So like before there was any actual like publicity and stuff, I think we all knew it. I think the only times that we didn't know it was probably when Barack Obama was president. But obviously, in recent years, it's become more apparent that, there is a higher level of stupidity. People believing what Trump said about lowering bills, that turning out not to be true because, by the way, it was in the administration's manifesto, I believe. So you could see it, like, right in front of you, literally. And, the stupidity ended up consuming you. So it ended up backfiring. Like, do I even need to say more? But apparently I do, because now, as UK people, we do genuinely owe you an apology. Because, over the last year or so, the UK has undergone a fascist uprising, where fascism is now the commonplace for belief, essentially. Basically the same way it happened with Margaret, but I see it's about the UK. and we have a uprising here where all the fascists want really evil shit to be done to people, and they want things like ICE to be here. Like, it's actually fucking nuts. But you know, the UK stupidity, I think, has actually been worse than the US's, in fact. Because I don't think we've ever had a stable government in, what, 20, maybe 30 years? Like, I can't even recall, like, the last time. So, yeah, like, the UK is genuinely stupider, and I think this is probably a knock-on effect of, well, it's just general stupidity. Like, we're all just dumber than anyone else, and I think compared to the US has made far fewer mistakes, and yeah, that's generally why we owe you an apology. So sorry about that. You have made stupid decisions as well. I think we're probably in it together and have a lot more in common. But I think the UK is probably coming up to be far worse, and it's one of those things. It's like, I don't think it's the Dunning-Kruger effect, is it? But it's like an irony where the stupid people accuse other people of being stupid. And it really does show when that happens. It's like, and they also say to other stupid people that they'll call smart people stupid, but they'll say their own people are smart. Yeah, I've seen this firsthand. If you look at, for example, the reform pages on any platform, you'll see that firsthand. And when they announce the detention facilities, there's actually people saying, genius idea. Like, what? You haven't even read into the fucking policies and the writing around what's required to build detention facilities and even what they'll do. Like, it's fucking ridiculous, and they're saying it's genius. Like, it's not. Unless it's like sarcasm. I can't detect sarcasm through HTML code. Unless. Gives me an idea. But it's so dumb. But obviously, as we're turning that around in the UK with the rise of fascism, it does leave me worried, obviously, for the future. Because it just feels like we're being completely fucked over by these people, and we have no choice in it. I even had this text bit on Notepad where I actually came up with a response. I say, like, bring on the chaos. Let's see the NHS fall. Let's see your bills rise. Let's see just all the evil shit that will happen as a result of reform. And, you know, I don't know if people will even fucking listen to that. That's kind of the problem as well. It's like whether people listen. It's because they're so thick-skinned. Ironically, you have those types of people, I think, anywhere. But again, that's seemingly the issue. And we can't seem to avoid it, which is really unfortunate. Yeah, I am literally sick and tired of just all this garbage at the moment. It's so much shit going on in the world. Like over the past 24 hours, there's been about like 20 different topics on Blue Sky, for example, that have been trending. And I dread to think what else there could be. Like, things are just getting really bad, and yeah. And this is generally why I try to step away from accusatory things, you know, even though we do know that there is evidence to suggest that people in like MAGA and people voting reform tend to be paedophiles, rapists, sex offenders, whoever. That is pretty much proven. I think accusatory things where you don't actually know for certain, so you know, you're generalising here obviously with that. I'm not going to say the individual reform voter I said online is like that. But I do think there is genuine stupidity. And that seems to be a commonplace. You see it with, for example, the fucking flag painting stuff. Like when they did I think it was a Denmark flag It's the one with the red background and white fucking cross. But that's what you see with this shit, and it's like so dumb. Even with the waves of flag stuff, it doesn't even dissuade people. I guarantee you, people who don't speak your language, who see that, don't think, oh, I'm scared, this is a nationalist party. They probably think, oh, it's the World Cup, probably. And until obviously they experience genuine racism and xenophobia, it's not really something that clocks to them, which is, yeah, it's pretty unfortunate. Yeah, this is a problem. And they don't think these things through, and that's one of the issues here. It's similar to obviously the elections in the UK now, where the smear campaigns are being basically all against the Green Party for some reason now. I think Labour have done it, I think Reform have done it, and I'm pretty sure did Conservatives do something? I don't know. I can't remember actually. There's like all these campaigns against them, and it's like you're just giving them more votes. Because the logically minded people realise this is stupid. And then the dumb people think, yeah, good idea. Like, shit on the Greens. And then that just doesn't do anything. And you're surprised that it just didn't work. Guess what? People can use their brains sometimes. I don't really understand it. It's just real dumb shit. Of course, it is worrying for the state of the world in the future, for that matter. As much as we want to probably bring people into existence who actually understand the world and what it's like to live in it, it's not always that possible. In a sense, it's kind of an argument against antinatalism, because I think people who have a heart, who do genuinely care, can probably bring up a child properly. And obviously show them that there are good things in the world even amidst the chaos. But then obviously you have to remember that these bigots, these fascists who have children are probably going to indoctrinate theirs with just really evil ideas. Hang on, what the hell? I thought I saw something interesting on my Final Fantasy image. I thought Carmichael had coloured pupils, and it's just clear, I think. Anyway, I think I've pretty much made my point here, but again, it's like an apology and a realisation. I do think that we need to do something about this, and yeah. Anyway, let's move on. I'm surprised I haven't talked about this before. Excuse me if I'm out of breath, because just had a really stressful 20 minutes. Toilet blocked, plunged it, lid fell in the plunger holder. Had to put my glass fish out, decided to clean the sink. Toilet roll holder keeps falling over because there's nowhere to fucking put it. Because idiots here don't know how to fucking run a house. And this is why I have Crohn's disease. Yeah, I cleaned the sink. That was less stressful, but it took a toll on my back. Didn't really expect it to, given how much I fucking lift. It's weird. I don't even have that when I'm lifting shopping. But I did have to sort of really scrub it, I guess. I wanted to talk about another thing that stresses me the fuck out, which is my medication for Crohn's disease. So basically, what's happening with that is, when I got diagnosed with it, it said I had ulcerative colitis, which makes sense. I can see that. Explains a lot of things. And they gave me a few options for medication. There's only two though, I believe. What was it? I think it was three actually. One with not much effectiveness, which I think was like an oral medication. One with more effectiveness, which can be taken at home, which is what I took. Well, I take rather, and one which gets done by them. But I have to be at the hospital for it, which is stupid. I don't know why they think that's a good idea, but yeah, I decided on the one that you take at home, and like, it's got a few problems. I'm not even sure if I should say the name of. I think it's like adalimumab or something. But it's got a few problems, and it's quite frustrating to deal with a lot of the times, because sometimes it's not even about the medication itself, it can be about the other things. So there's a lot of things to keep track of with it, which is really annoying, and this is also primarily one of the reasons why I don't want to pile on any more injection medications, because I'm frankly fed up of it. It's pretty dangerous in my opinion to have this much, and you know, when I was going through my what was it, the metazapine, I was also having problems there because I struggle with the metazapine, the side effects. With this medication there aren't really any side effects. In the first few weeks there was a tiny bit of something, but it sort of disappeared eventually, which is good I suppose. It means that it's not too devastating, but I've experienced issues with, well, other medication a bit worse, but other than that, as far as it goes, it's not too bad. They start you off on a really high dose, and this is like for severe cases as well, but when mine was like so severe, I had like I think it's like almost 2,000 of this inflammation they could measure. Was it inflammation, or was it? I can't remember what it was, but the levels were high. Basically, it was in 2,000. You're supposed to be 0 or below, or 100 or below, I think, because that's like the safe range, and that means less chance of bowel cancer and stuff. But when I went on medication, it slowly decreased. It went from 2,000 to 400, which was quite good, I guess. But then it got us into sort of another issue, which is I struggled to take it. Keep smelling the toilet. I don't know what the fuck is going on in this place. Don't know what that is. I need to eat a minute, I think. Was it not open? Oh, it is. Excuse that. So what else? Yeah, I think after a few more months of taking it, we've taken it every 2 weeks. It sort of reduced itself, but then they started to get me to take it every week because they found that the levels weren't optimal still. I think it was like 100 range over, and that meant that I should probably take it more. Just do a weekly dose, and obviously the dose went from like 160 to 80 to 40. For now, I'm on the 40 amount, which is good. And yeah, like taking it weekly has been problematic though. I've even kept a diary of all the injections I've taken basically. I even have like a leaflet on how to take it and stuff. They also taught me how to take it. And it's just an injection either in the stomach or the leg. The thing is, I chose the leg, which I think was a bit stupid, but then, I'll explain this later, the problem I initially found was having it was a pain in the arse. So I don't even stop with this. The delivery, I guess delivery is fine because you get it delivered, but you have to put it in the fridge right away. So means you have to refrigerate it. Thank God I'm not living at the first house I ever lived at, because there would have been no room. Most of my shelf would probably be taken by the medication, which is a problem. I'm not sure if there's like any rules about taking it out and putting it in a like tub or something. I've never really checked with that, but I think it's worth checking with a doctor about that. Well, depends who you got for this, because I do have a specific part of the NHS that helps with my issues here. I won't say who, but they do help with that, which is okay. So yeah, they basically help with that, and they do like follow-ups and checkups and stuff, and there's appointments, and apparently I'm due a colonoscopy, but not in this state. I definitely can't do that. Fuck that. Wait for things to become normal, and then I'll decide if I want to do it or not. Same with other appointments. I've got 3 other fucking appointments to do, which is nuts. but nothing's really moving, so I can't do anything. So I'm stuck here until the stress goes away, essentially. It's like the stress is not going away. Yeah, they should punch the wall earlier, and then you should check that. Yeah, I think I'm okay. Just maybe a bruise or something. But yeah, it's a bit weird. What was I going to talk about? So, delivery's fine, and that's the other thing, you need to check on the dates a lot. So, when you're getting a new delivery of medication, you need to make sure that they're all in date, because I think if they go off, they don't really work. I never really had this issue. Like, the first batch I ever got had a weird date on it, so I used it within the next month or so, and couldn't because, well, they were about to go out of date, so that wasn't helpful. And then what else happened? Trying to find a good place for this mint, but it's not really working. I can't put it on the right because it sticks. So yeah, the dates are a problem, but they're not too bad now for some reason. I don't know what changed. But annoyingly, it still has to be kept in the fridge even all this time later, all this technology. I don't really know. I think there's like an active ingredient in it or something where it requires to be put in the fridge. But when you start to use it, you have to take it out, and also you can leave it for a while, but you can do it straight away. And sometimes it feels a bit more worth it to just do it straight away. But when you get it out, it's sort of, you have to leave it so it doesn't cause pain when you have it into your body. So it's like a needle, but it's hidden with a thing for some reason, a pressy thing. It's a very strange design. I haven't seen anything like it, but it's a bit stupid as well because you don't actually know how far it's going. And I think for the people who probably struggle to hold their hand like I do sometimes, you do sort of need to see it. So I do find problems with that. You also get a shot spin, I'll explain that later. But the problem when it goes in is it has a chance of not going in. So in a nightmarish scenario, I've had it where the medication comes out, obviously the adalimumab pot, and the blue stuff, obviously, as it feels like there's like a line that shows you, like, it feels like a blue, there's a window, I mean, that shows it, and when it's filled up, it means it's all out. So you can actually remove it pretty much straight away, I think, or at least you need to keep the needle in a bit so the medication travels. The problem is, if you're in agonising pain, you just want to let it go. You just want it out. So you like lift it off, and usually it doesn't leave you bleeding. Because this is a weird thing I've discovered recently. I don't know if it's maybe because I've drunk coffee or because of the medication or my stress, or even, I don't even know. But it stops bleeding every now and then, and looking at my history, like earlier on, it didn't really have any bleeding. So like 2024 to 2025, there wasn't really anything until actually mid 2025, where there was, I think, bleeding and a lot of pain as well. And you can also see the liquid come out, which is also concerning. So I don't know what that means, if that's good or bad. But also, as people know, the only thing it really does is it stops the inflammation. But I still have to go to the toilet every single fucking morning without fail. And I don't know if that's maybe a failure of the medication or if it's a misdiagnosis. The fact that it's stopping my inflammation and, you know, stopping like mucus and blood from travelling out my body, it's probably showing that it does work to an extent, but it's not working effectively, so it's not stopping the issue. I wish I could just go for a shit whenever I want to, rather than every single fucking morning, which takes time out of my day, which ruins my appointments, and it ruins my routine. Like, at this point, I'd just rather not have a fucking stomach. Like, what is the point? As this stuff is agony. I spend more time on the toilet probably than I do eating, which is like, what? And especially now with all the stress, I'm even more on the toilet. And I think over the last week or so, I've had less visits than the week before, but it's still there. I woke up, I think, yesterday actually, like right in the morning, with diarrhea, stomach pains, and almost vomiting. I wasn't vomiting, but felt like it. So it shows it's not really that effective, and yeah, I don't know what's going on there. It's really weird. I don't know if it's like an immunity response or something, because it didn't really change anything in my last place, even when there's like little stress there. Nothing really changed, so I don't even know. And it's a bit confusing, to be honest. But eventually, yeah, like, where am I with this? I did try to change the injection site to my stomach, and it said like within 5 centimeters, but I tried it for how long here? Where is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I tried it for 6 weeks, which is usually about the time it sets in, but didn't really work. So I have it here like left for 30 minutes, no pain, but because it was the stomach it felt weird. Wasn't sure if it went in because of my fat, literally. Yeah, I've got like lots of fat around my stomach. I can't get rid of it, it's not going anywhere. I tried. I think even then the most I ever lost probably even still left me with a bit of fat. I remember I was actually looking at some videos, and yeah, there's like less so. You know, when I used to interact with people, I used to double check them because I didn't want to embarrass myself or show my face, really. But yeah, I had a bit less fat there. Or whatever this is, I don't even know if it's fat. Anyway, more of the journals I put here, because I basically report every one to make sure I'm tracking it, to make sure I haven't missed any, and to make sure I have details down if I need to. Bit of pain, stuff that's unusual. That's a 30 minutes one, just weird. Another 30 minutes, bit of a sting, pulling it out, managed to pull it out a bit sideways, which was uncomfortable. Yeah, that's possible. Because it's not like flat, it's like, you know. But can you even do it? I think you can, but it's like really difficult. It's like hand gets a bit stiff, and because of my issues, I think I might have arthritis. I tend to drop things a lot and be shaky when I hold things, and that happens here. Yeah, it's not a fun experience having all this medication, honestly. So I tried the legs again after 6 weeks and still had the same issues and obviously same stress. So this has been happening since like February, I think. It's just pretty nuts. It's been 3 months now since this all started, what the fuck? But I don't know. And this is the thing when also like previous stress I think catches up on you. But that's basically the injection experience. But then I've got another issue, and this one I find really bizarre because it just doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, this is the idiocy of a healthcare system that doesn't put any thought into the treatments. And basically, when you get a sharp spin, I think I'll look it up, like sharp spins UK. See what happens, because I wonder if there's third party. But the one I get is like yellow, it has a purple lid, there's plenty of them out there it seems. That's pretty much the first image that comes up on. Does it go, not first image, but you know, it's on there. But these things aren't fit for purpose because they are tiny. I'm trying to think of the size, it's like, it's smaller than a tiny pedal bin. I think like a 5 litre pedal bin if I'm not mistaken, is it? Might be 4 litre. But it's not big enough. Like, it's really fucking bad. I'm even looking here on like the MediSafe website. They've got square ones, and this is a problem. You get cylindrical ones. Now here it is. Sharp's got Kaito, whatever you call it. I've got the 24 litre, it seems, have I? Doesn't sound right. How's it 24 litres? There's a video. No, I think that is the 24 litres. That's a bit shit. God, what? It doesn't even... Okay, that's bad. But anyway, it fills up really quickly because you can't even organise the pens that you've got in there. Obviously there's injection pens. Was it 11 litres? I think it might be... I don't even know the fucking size. It might even be the smallest one. But it's cylindrical for starters, so okay, you might think maybe stack it upwards. But that's not possible because you've got a tiny lid that you can't even take off, I don't think. And that's why I can't control that. But I've like requested not to get a cylindrical one because it doesn't stack, it doesn't fit anything in there. And the problem is you can barely fit like 20 odd of these things in there, it depends. So it gets filled up real quickly because not only is it small, it's also cylindrical, and then it does this thing inside where it goes horizontally, is it? Basically, I can't remember the term now. Fuck is that's confusing me. But basically it's going like from corner to corner. That's what I'll describe it as, you know, it's like a square. But it doesn't sit like a pen would, because it touches the lid. So there's no room to put these things in there. It's such a big fucking problem that when I put them in obviously needle down because that's the safest option. But I have to like force it in. Like, it's actually fucking ridiculous. And then I'm looking on this site about movable body bin. What the fuck? Ugh. It just came up as a result. But I'm looking on here and they've got non-cylindrical ones which make more sense. They've got plenty of these sort of bins on there. I don't get why they don't provide me with that. I've actually said to the team that I struggle to put these away because there's no way to organise it, and then it fills up so quickly you can't even close it. And you also struggle to close the lid as well. And then there's another bizarre fact. Nobody disposes of it. I've asked several times and they say they don't deal with it. The same team who delivers it doesn't deal with it. So I don't even know what the fuck is going on. So there is like a lot of mismanagement here, it seems. And yeah, I'm looking at these like sharp spins, there's plenty better ones out there. Even then, like the body bag, it sounds weird, the body bin rather, it's probably more effective. There's a disposable bin, 20 litres, Bristol made. But that probably is better because it means that the pens will sit out the bottom a certain direction and I can organise it that way as well. Because not like there's bloody like shit in there. But you know, it's so fucking weird. I don't understand why they don't give me one of these. And also, what is even... I think the prices of these are a bit expensive too. That's like the main issue at the moment. I can sort of take the pain, I can take the sort of blood that comes out every now and then. But that is like, obviously the help. I look at the sharp spin and I think, how the fuck am I going to fit this in here today? So I try to fit as many in as possible, and it goes up to around like 4 kilograms in weight because of the weight of the pens having so much liquid in, and also too much stuff around it, to be honest. And they're pretty fucking big for what they are. Imagine the thickest pen you can get to like write with, like a ballpoint, and times that by like 2 or 3, and you pretty much got the size of one of these pens that I use to inject myself. So it's quite a thick thing, but it's also quite tall. But yeah, I felt like sharing this because I felt like it really bothered me. And having done this for a while now, I could share my experience. And you know, the other thing that should go about saying anyway, I don't even know if the medication is vegan, but I don't care at this point. It is actually helping and it's good. If there was an alternative, I could go with that. Maybe pay a bit extra if that's a thing I need to do. But yeah, I'm just really tired of this shit. I think the most annoying thing is that I'm seemingly going to have to be with this for the rest of my life. And even with however many I've taken now, like, let me look again. How many entries are there? So -1, -2. So 85 times I've taken this, which is pretty fucking insane. Like, what the hell? It feels like I've done it much less, because I still feel a bit like an amateur when I do it. Well, that's the other thing as well. Because I do it on my legs rather than my stomach, because the stomach one doesn't seem to work, as I said. Like, I have to be careful with it, because I have to either pull my pants down and something, like, literally have to do it almost half naked. Because I can't even reach the bit of my legs where it needs to go in. So it gets really fucking annoying. So yeah, it's like really weird with that. It's such a strange location, and even though there's one that's on the shoulders, which I think at this point might even be better, but I don't know. Because apparently someone else needs to do that to have it work, but I don't know. Also, I work out, so I don't really want to do that on my shoulders. So yeah, as for like side effects from the injections, I forgot to mention this. There's probably 2 possible ones that I can think of. The first one is bruising. It does happen every now and then, and I don't know why. I think because you inject it in, like, is there even like, hang on, anatomy of legs, veins? I don't know. Because there might be some like blood vessels or veins on your legs. So like near the front, and this seems to be a front one, yeah. So yeah, like, I think depending on where you inject it, it can literally go into a vein. So I'm not sure how good that is, to be honest, like, because I can't see it. My legs are also quite damaged because somehow I've been scratching it a lot of years I've been alive. I don't know what happened there. But there's actually skin damage, so I don't know what the fucking deal is with that, so I can't even identify a vein. So there's already that issue. But seemingly there's a lot of places where the blood flows in your legs, and you struggle with that. But then the second thing, which I only noticed today, and I'm not sure if I noticed it before, but if it goes into a vein, there's a chance it can cause some stiffness in your leg. Well, I think maybe it knows that your muscle maybe has been hit or something. If there is a muscle there in your thigh, because where the thighs are, it's not the bottom leg. Would probably be better there. But it's more like the top leg. I think it needs to travel near the colon, so that's why it's sort of injected close there. Or at least in a downward flow. Or something like that. I could be wrong. Anyway, that's the medication. It took a fucking while to explain. But yeah, as I said, it's really annoying, so I don't recommend it. I think if you have alternatives, there might be a point to using them. Also, if I could go the oral route with fewer side effects, there isn't really any side effects on this, that's the difference. I think depending on the side effects, I think I'd rather go the oral route if there was an option. But yeah, anyway, that's about it, so let's move on. Alright, so Reform MP has been a dickhead. Not surprising. Apparently, I think this is Harry Phillips, your Reform UK candidate. By that time has been passed a series of Facebook messages that boast of Reform UK candidate appearing to help disabled residents. Nice. Such class. Getting the best from Reform in it. The message sent via Facebook Messenger shows Harry Phillips running for Reform Stanwell, calling a potential constituent and his wife sponsors of society. And his what? Okay. Called his wife a ponce of society. Mocking a woman's health conditions such as mocking a woman's health conditions as made-up ailments and a series of personal insults directed at the couple, including references to their appearance. And he is accused of insulting a stroke survivor and a person with ADHD, stating that their conditions scream benefit scrounger and lazy cunt. Mockingly showing her Facebook profile in a message. Another message shows him telling the recipient that reporting his contact to Reform UK would be ineffective as he is a board member of Reform. A voice note. Wait, there's another message here. Unfortunately for you, I'm also a board member here. That's basically what I said. Plus dealing with things like adults, the irony. A voice note in one of the messages about Piracy. Phillips appeared to call the resident his wife a pair of skanks. You smelly bastard. She's a beggar with 1,000,001 disabilities or made up afflictions. It screams attention seeker. I can smell you from your profile pictures, voice note says. Resident says it left his family shaken. Mary Phillips was contacted for comment. Do you yourself a favour and go very steady with your message for me and post about me. I don't know you or your silly wife, but to be honest, I don't care much about either of those of your opinions. Positive society, the power of you, get a job. Tell your wife to stop posting about her made-up ailments, no one cares. You're a vile little ginger troll. He literally argues with anyone who doesn't agree with him, pretty similar. In response, Rory O'Brien, UK chairman, told us that he'd sent unconditional apologies to the recipient. Mary has been subjected to extreme levels of online abuse, stalking and threats over the last 9 months. While his recent response is not excusable, it was a significant departure from his character, triggered by ongoing harassment and links to... hang on, check out recording, yep. Significant departure links to the original interactions being reported. It's important to note that the parents were unaware of the full extent of the escalating severity of the abuse, targeting both Harry and his family, only becoming clear to us following this restarting. I've emailed the recipient extending a conditional apology on my behalf. The branch currently operating duty of care is physical and mental well-being of our candidate. They added that there was an ongoing investigation into alleged harassment towards Harry Phillips, and not liberty to comment further while internal and external investigations continue. O'Brien added. And there's a message here. Have a day off. Who gives a fuck when you had a stroke, really a voice called or ADHD? Screens benefit scrounger and lazy cunt, to be honest. Get a job, a pair of fools. The messages were sent to the local resident. God, there's a lot here. Or is it just never ending? I don't really think there's really much else to scrape here. But yeah, honestly, this is just horrible, obviously. I think someone who denies disability should be tried in court, literally. Should be sued for money and given jail time. Because the problem is you're denying a very real reality, which even then, a lot of your voters go through. Like, am I missing something here? Because I guarantee you a lot of them probably on, like, I don't know, like, what's that thing for the heart? Is it a stunt? Stint, I think it is, actually. Could be on a shunt? I can't remember what it's actually called. It's something for the heart that you get to have it, like, beating. And I guarantee you there's probably a lot of voters like that, and that's, like, a condition. It's not a made-up ailment, it is a condition that they have to address. So, like, go through this one by one, obviously. Looking at women's health conditions and made-up ailments. No, periods are real. I had a girlfriend once, you haven't, clearly. When she was going through her periods, and I did know, like, about it. I didn't know too much about it, actually. It's probably, like, one of the first times I sort of actually, like, known about it really enough. It's like the first experience. It was like she's telling me that there's like blood there and stuff, and oh, it's kind of bad. So yeah, it's not a made up ailment, it fucking happens. It's just minding your own business. Like, even then going into like the personal things, I've seen it. Like, it's so fucking bad, and it shows that you actually haven't had a proper partner. It's like really fucking horrible to even say this. And even then, like, made up ailments, like, you do realise women are probably more at risk of various, like, cancers and stuff than men are. Like, there's breast cancer and, I swear there's another one, actually. I know that men have testicular cancer, and it's a thing I'm more frequent to, bowel cancer and stuff. But yeah, there are definitely issues that are exclusive to women. Not to mention mental health as well, because women unfortunately go through a lot more hardships than anyone else. They do end up being, well, struggling rather with that. So it is a real thing. It's not a fucking made up element. You're fucking not. Um, but yeah, like, I'm trying to think what else there is. Yeah, look for this again. He accused a stroke survivor and a person with ADHD screaming, benefit scrounger and lazy cunt. Do you even know what a fucking stroke does? This is the thing. You assume things about disability without actually reading into them. So you're already failing to make an argument that's even effective. Saying they benefit scroungers and lazy cunts. Do you even fucking know what a stroke does? Like, this you can disable a part of your body and even kill people. Like, it's so fucking bad that this is even a thing. And, you know, being on benefits for that, like, it's so fucking. It's just mind numbing. I don't even know how you believe this, and I'd be surprised if this guy doesn't have any actual family. Because I guarantee you, there's probably people in his family who actually go through this, and they're probably looking at this thinking, what the fuck have we even brought up? This isn't the kid we once knew. Like, this is literally just going to be a fucking devastating blow to everyone, and even those who are deceased, probably turning in their graves. Just such a fucking shameful person for that. Yeah, and like the ADHD thing as well. You are literally unable to work in certain spectrums of autism, and ADHD can cause you to become extremely distracted and unaware of things, so it does cause issues. Especially in the world of today where there's a lot of distractions and there's a lot of sensory overload. So it does happen. So no, it's not them being lazy. It literally is a real thing. I have autism and I'm sensitive to issues. I also have OCD, so I have mixed anxiety, and these aren't things that are made up. Literally, I've had these conditions since childhood, not knowing what they were. I know they're real because as a child I didn't really think anything of the issues I had. I thought autism, don't care, anxiety, don't care, OCD, don't care, and I didn't understand it. And when it came to doing something like performances, I couldn't do them. It's just something in me that just made me say no. And I literally refused to do it because I couldn't do it. It's like something blocking me, and it turns out it's probably the anxiety and autism doing it. So yeah, like, again, it's not laziness, it literally is a fucking mental health issue. Then this message about saying, call a resident and his wife a pair of skanks. You smelly bastard. She's a beggar of 1,000,001 disabilities and made of afflictions. It screams attention seeker. We can smell you from your profile picture. What? That's all assumptions. Like, what the fuck? Like, you don't even know any of these things as a fact, and you're instead going to these childish insults, and the irony of saying, best off dealing with things like adults. Huh? What does that make you then? Because if you're a fucking adult, and I don't want to be like you, it's so self-defeating as well. Like, what a big fucking self-roast. Honestly, this is a fucking joke. Like, what the hell are we even seeing here? This is actually what I meant with something like Reform being just anti-disability and just anti-anything at this point. They are perpetrating this bullshit. And these candidates obviously aren't helping this situation at all. You know, I could give credit due where it's due, but there isn't any here. It's just a terrible human being who lives off making things up in his head. Thinking things are made up. Every sort of disability is made up. And it just, yeah. It's just so fucking. weird. But again, that's why I say that people like this should be in prison, because I think that denial means that there is an active discrimination case, saying it's a made-up affliction, saying all these things about it, like mocking them. I think that's horrible. And just because it's a reform MP, it doesn't mean that I'm only picking on reform MPs for this. If it was a Green Party person, I'd say the same thing. They should go to jail. I wouldn't even forgive them, because this shit is evil. Well, I don't even know what to fucking add. I still can't believe this is even something that's happening. Like this with Blue Sky. It's like it's doing it at the moment. Nothing more AI videos, great. I keep getting these fucking AI videos, I think. Is it AI? Somehow recording animals at like foot level and there's like no vehicles in the background or something. Still fucking confused. Also, I'm walking on not a sidewalk, I'm walking on a road. Like what? I'm so confused by some of these videos on here. Yeah, I guess the only thing we can hope with stuff with reform is that they don't win in a lot of places. This is the sort of shit they're pushing for. And we could do the same thing. They accuse a rather AI generated video of one of the candidates saying anti-Israeli commentary. We could do the same with them. They're saying anti-Israeli commentary and they're making a joke out of disability and working class people and people for their looks. Like, come fuck on. Like, I could just make up anything at this point and it still works. Yeah, it's just terrible. So I don't know what to add. But yeah, let's move on. So this may be stupid or something, but it's basically a logic thing I've been thinking about. But it reminded me of something I've heard a while ago where there was an accusation against people who were fighting for animal rights and environmentalism or whatever, basically anything that's probably good for the planet. Basically calling them out saying that they're conservative and perhaps even Nazis or fascists, and the fact this is just a big straw man and a red herring as well, because there's a bit of both in there, because it's misleading in the way that this isn't actually about a political stance at all. It's in fact about something else besides people. It does impact people, but it is different in the way that it impacts them. So, with environment, it benefits people by, obviously, if we help the climate, lower temperatures, there'll be obviously more of an ecosystem. We'll be able to tackle the ice age a bit more, as we're currently transitioning as that. There's overall benefits to tackling the environment and also stopping deforestation, which obviously helps that. There's also carbon emissions as well, lowering that. It's good for people. But there's also health, where it does help people as well, because being able to stop a lot of the health problems we have now is actually really crucial. You may have someone elderly in your family who currently struggles with heart issues or a risk of stroke or even just cancers. And one of the things that health addresses with people is when you move towards a plant-based diet, it tends to reduce all these symptoms, including more long-term ones like diabetes and intolerances. And I think even like autoimmune disorders, if I'm not mistaken, I don't take that with a grain of salt, basically. I don't really know if that's true. But given these other issues have been solved, it's quite likely that there is something there. But then people are calling this like Nazism and communism in some ways. Like, it's so fucking weird. I remember this accusation because it was just coming out of nowhere. I think it was happening during the vegan teacher stuff, where people assumed that she was a fascist or a Nazi because she wanted people to be punished for consuming animals, which is not an unfair sort of ask, because if you look at the context, the where this actually comes from, it's kind of reasonable in a way. It's like basically saying we should treat people who consume animals for pleasure the same way that we treat people who murder each other. Obviously use them for pleasure. Because people are just inherently evil, and this is one of those cases. But instead people attacked her, and it's kind of like, this is where this narrative gets out of hand. Instead of facing the truth and being honest and open-minded, they instead attacked. And, this is why humanity can't have nice things. It's also because people make a bad name for themselves and even their positions. But also we have like conservatism, which is another point, where we're obviously accused of being conservative, because it is essentially what conservatism is, or conservation. I think they're two different things entirely, to be honest, but I'll explain how it's not conservatism in any way. So, the thing with all these positions like animal rights and health and environment is they are not actually from a position of conservatism. The reason we know that is because when we've had agriculture for so many years, they've been trying to perfect it and find ways to make it more efficient. So probably like 1800s is probably the last time that animals actually had a decent chance at living a full life. But then it got cut short because obviously people started to try and find a profit from it, started making farming more common. So they grew more cropland, and they probably grew more animals as well. So they started making it more efficient and more frequent, because the demand obviously had to be there. Supply is there to meet the demand. So obviously that increased over time, and then going into the industrial eras where capitalism is now in full swing, because now people are literally looking to make the most profit they can. That's when we started to sacrifice all these other things like health, environmentalism, and animal rights. Because believe it or not, animals live in far worse conditions now than they've ever done. And that's saying something, given how some of them live in the wild, which is generally better. And in some cases anyway, like wild animal suffering is horrific still. But there are cases where it's better than what we're seeing in, say, animal agriculture now. So where the conservatism claim comes in, obviously, is that people think rather that we're trying to go back to a form of the world where we get rid of everything that actually holds meaning and value to us, and gives us convenience and, well, even like pleasure, for example. Got the internet and stuff. But I think that's just basically false, because what we're actually advocating for in this case with animal rights is about establishing a way that we can actually make a food system without the use of animals. And that means obviously not exploiting animals, not using them for pleasure or anything. Basically not getting rid of the animals, but just removing them from this situation that they're in, which is obviously industrial farming. And is industrial farming no matter where you go, including the local farms, because they do it for profit as well. It's all part of the same landscape essentially. It doesn't matter how local it is, or even how personal it is. It's still a type of industrial farming anyway. It's still an operation. And I think by that virtue it's more like that. Obviously if you're living on the land in your own, it's probably not as much of an issue. But it's still obviously a problem from a moral perspective, like exploitation and murder. Essentially that's where the animal rights perspective is. It's about stopping these things entirely and removing the behaviour that people think it's okay to do this. And that's not Nazism or fascism. It's literally logic and morality. The same way we know not to treat people of a different ethnicity poorly. The same way we know not to treat women poorly or people with disability. It's just basic logic. Given that animals are more vulnerable than any of the people I've mentioned to you, it's just, it's like, it's a no-brainer. You know, there are animals, by the way, cats and dogs, which we domesticated, and we don't treat them the same way we treat farm animals. And I wonder why that is, because I often wonder, and this is my sort of logic thing, back when I was obviously debating all this before, if you can't treat your dog or cat the same way we treat animals in animal agriculture, then why is it okay to do it to them? It's a very basic question. Because if their animals are really being treated well and they're obviously worth the quote unquote pleasure that you get from them for their small lifetime, then how is it justified when used against a dog or a cat? Like, because this is basically, they're both conscious, they're both sentient, they both experience pain and have free will. But there is no difference between these animals. So, dog is no different to a cow, except for species, obviously, but that's not what we're debating. Species is an entirely different thing, but cows aren't even evil, whereas dogs can be. So, I don't understand where this comes from. But if we're basing it on evil, then obviously every fucking animal can be. Well, there's not anyone immune to it. So it already fails as an argument to use species. But also looking at, again, just where we can apply these things. So again, farming dogs can't be any different than farming a cow. Because they both experience the same amount of joy and the same amount of hardship. See, in different forms, but same either way. And there just isn't a good justification. But when you compare it to plants, you don't see any of this. You don't see free will, you don't see the subjective experiences like consciousness or sentience. There is nothing like that. So it doesn't really mean anything. That's why plants end up being the alternative to meat or animal products in general. I'll say with something like environment, which I'm not as well educated on, admittedly. The point with environment isn't to revert the world to the way it is, it's to make it sustainable. Things like wind farms already help, but that's more an electricity sort of thing. But we're more looking at lowering temperatures and obviously stopping the use of animals in animal agriculture so that we can lower temperatures, lower emissions, have breathable air, and even have enough food left over to feed the world. Because a lot of crops go to animals. A lot of people really know that, but it literally is what's happening. Pretty sure it's been researched a ton. Crop growth is used primarily for animals rather than people. So yeah, it sucks. I haven't really got much else on that. But health, there isn't really much to say because health is sort of a new thing. In fact, we only really understood it as we moved into the industrial era because then science became a thing that's more advocated for and more common. And eventually it's now gotten to where it is now. So it's a thing that's commonly preached and understood. So that's why it's not conservatism, it's actually progress in that case. And same with environment, it's like halting the advance of climate change. It's basically stopping an injustice. So imagine Earth was actually a living, breathing being. Well, technically it is. But imagine if it's sentient. Would you want to fight for Earth's rights in that case? Would you stop everything bad that's happening to it? Try to heal Earth's wounds, obviously. Of course you would. You'd feel bad about it. Of course, even without sentience, it's still just as important. It's our homeland, essentially. It's where we come from, where we've been raised and stuff. So to destroy it is obviously just halting progress. It's not allowing Earth to evolve. People seem to forget that as well. It's not an argument I see much in environment, but evolution and even de-evolution, if you can even call it that, it's a part of Earth, really. It's a smell. That was weird. But yeah, again, it can't be called conservatism because we're not conserving much. We're just trying to help Earth progress. And we're trying to do that by stopping climate change, which serves to do something bad. It's like, it's just really silly when people bring it up. Whatever this conservatism stuff, but it reminds me of the supplements for some reason. It's like people view this as unnatural, but they ignore the fact that a lot of other people take supplements who are on a plant-based diet, and they can't even describe the problem of taking supplements. It takes like 20 seconds out of my day to do it. And, you know, what's the problem there? Well, what's 20 seconds going to do to take a chewing supplement and a swallowing one? Genuinely, what is the problem? I'm trying to figure this out, and I've been trying to figure it out for years. It's basically a non-argument. And the argument that people bring up even then is that it's not natural. It doesn't matter if it's fucking natural or not, because science should be the way you look for it. So when you study it, you see that people taking supplements, they have the same blood ranges as everyone else. So that's obviously an argument against caring about the natural state of things. So it depends on what they're using, so maybe it's better to use, for example, algae oil over fish oil, because fish oil is quite evil, because it has just tons of chemicals in it. I'm pretty sure microplastics for sure, it has to have that. But it's generally better. Also mercury, I forgot that. Mercury is one of the big things. That's bad for your brain. So it sort of negates the effects of omega-3, I think. But algae oil, on the other hand, far less exposure to those things, and it's probably more likely to even work. I've seen it work anyway. Over the last 6 years, I've noticed my intelligence sort of increase. Realised things nobody else has, and even come to interesting conclusions and made my own arguments. Stuff that I wasn't doing before that, before the supplements. And that's another thing entirely. Maybe that was a thing that was also halting my progress in learning at school. It's interesting. I never actually had blood tests in school. Oh. Well, that's something that needs investigating, I think. If anyone's going to do a study on kids' nutrient levels, because I think we need that. Seems like that hasn't already been done. But yeah, basically conservatism is non-existent in the vegan movement because it's just false. Like, the movement itself is just about creating progress and doing good for the planet and every living being on it. I don't see how that can be called fascism or conservatism. Like, yes, we're restricting you from things that you previously had access to. Whether it's like a fuel guzzling car, well, not technically banning them, but just reducing them, turning to EVs. But there's also a case of removing animal products, which again contributes to the environment. Having like electric, for example, vehicles to deliver it, having basically little to no animal products, so we could transition to a plant-based food system. You know, people say that's like fascism, which it fucking isn't. Like, fascism is something completely different. It's when you actually have your rights removed. But you don't have rights when it comes to consumables like this. And people view animal products as consumables. Because I'm strong there. Let's show you that's what's going on here. Trying to think what else. Well, there was another thing. I guess the other thing is that even then, by taking things away, it's about looking at the overall benefit. Because I know that things people don't want to do in terms of, you know, overall benefits in the world. If you take away animal products and stuff, then you're also benefiting people from health, morality, and, you know, just a realisation of things, like realising you don't actually need animal products in your life, like, at all. It just makes it unnecessary. And the biggest complainers about that would be the lobbyists and the billionaire companies, which again I have to bring up. Because again, this like progressive thing, we're all against capitalism if you're progressive, I'm pretty sure of that. But you're contributing to it by consuming animal products, so what the fuck are you even doing? It's far worse than contributing to plant-based capitalism, which, yes, is an issue. But I think one's more evil than the other, just based on evidence. And I don't understand why people contribute to it. So I don't understand, again, where this conservatism thing comes from, when ironically the meat consumption side is more like infiltrated and more... I'm trying to think of the word, is it? I can't think of the word, but it's like lots more people just conservative in that sort of space. You know, they just don't want their meat products removed, even though meat products are bad. Yeah, it's just extremely silly. Just can't comprehend what people are thinking about this shite, honestly. It's just anything made up to make something sound not as appealing or appetizing. And you know, in all my years of debating this, I've still looked for a reason to give it up. Not to change my lifestyle necessarily, but to basically not care. I want reasons to not care about animal rights. I want reasons to not care about environment or climate change. I even want reasons not to care about human health. And yet, there isn't anything. I haven't been moved on this yet. And that demonstrates an issue. But I could easily flip like that. The fact that every single argument I've seen against these is so fucking weak, it doesn't even do anything. And even those minor criticisms, like how would you realistically move to a plant-based system, which has a response, by the way, but there are responses to it. It's like, you can do it, it is possible. It's like a time thing. You need to give it time and then it'll transition. It's not a complete like overnight thing. It has to transition, and the same with everything else. The environment, like getting out cars, obviously like gas guzzling, that takes time. It might not even be in the span of 10 years, it could be like 20 years, for example, which is more than enough time. But there's even like health as well, like transitioning out of it and seeing the increase in well-being. It's not even an instantaneous thing, like you'll probably get used to it over time. Not everyone will, but people certainly will if they commit and stick to it. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to add, to be honest, but I thought this was interesting to bring up. This is something that bothers me when I hear it mentioned. But yeah, anyway, let's move on. So I've been contemplating for quite a few hours now, and from like last night, given that I enjoyed looking at the game Piracy, about taking a break from Final Fantasy XIV, but obviously only the non-patch stuff, taking a break from that. And I think the realisation really came from just the idea of wanted to play more games and also split up what I'm doing, and obviously with me getting kind of burnt out in Final Fantasy XIV, not exactly, but some points I am. You know, obviously, I was doing a shit ton of grinding with, well, you know what, the gates and gold saucer and shit, and that was burning me the fuck out, as well as ocean fishing. Ocean fishing can be really frustrating. If you get one, like Spectral Current for example, you can be lucky enough to get the full points and get the tomestones, as if for the Moogle event, but you're not always guaranteed it, which is also extremely... like, I just want to punch players sometimes through those monitors. It's like, are you fishing Spectrals or not? It's so annoying. And that obviously leads to toxicity, and you get players who are just burnt out from that. Ocean fishing is like barely fun. What's supposed to be relaxing is now hindered with, or there is hindered with, RNG bullshit, as is the problem with it anyway. Also excuse the gameplay, I'm just going through the skins. Obviously got an exclamation mark on, so I don't have to scroll through them again. Yeah, but I'm like increasingly annoyed by the fact, and it's just, I don't even know anymore, man. It's extremely annoying when you know, those parts of the games are just so hindered by what is essentially player interaction. And even though you can help players with spectrals, I've seen it before, you don't even get the reward of like, oh, you help a player, more chances of spectral. No, that doesn't exist in this game. So they incentivize just being a silent player, like a mute player, like no interaction whatsoever. Great. And even then, you get these really unlucky like queues sometimes where, depending on the time of day, even though you've queued early, you can get like no players or some players. It's really fucking rare. I've even had a solo ocean fishing during that, which is the first ever time I've experienced it. But yeah, it's quite testament to how poor the game design is, in all honesty. I do genuinely think there is a problem here in how it's designed, and people will say, though, you can't criticise my favourite game, because it's my favourite game. Well, tough shit. You know, I'm going to criticise it because there are things to be criticised, and I just don't understand that logic. So what the fuck are you even doing here? Like, when you're saying that players can't, well, you know, criticise the game, it's like, of course you can fucking criticise it. Also, there's not even a skin in this. So model is kind of cool. Yeah, like, I'm consistently annoyed by that shit. It just feels so unnecessary, and I just hate it. Always just gets so tiring from a discussion point of view. But the problem is the game can't even change, it can't even accommodate you if you don't criticise it. And I'll say it's down to the developers and the designers and directors, whoever it is at this point, producers maybe. But whoever it is, you have a responsibility and an obligation to at least serve the player. And in this case, I feel like they're not all the time. It does feel like they're lazily just going about their days and not really giving a shit about the general player base. So that always sucks. And the other thing, I suppose, is that with the lack of a cross-realm at the moment, it does make searching for groups a bit annoying still, although it's kind of fine for the most part. I think the main annoyance is it's down to being lucky with groups, like finding them to begin with. And yeah, well, you can have struggles with it, and once again I predicted I had to play tank again in the Unreal trial. Excellent. Honestly, just 10 out of 10. But no, that is a serious problem though. Honestly don't understand why that keeps happening. It's a bit confusing, in all honesty. It's just like, what the fuck? Like, how? Why is this always happening? I played DPS to practice and then I can't play DPS now? What? It's like players just come in, do it once and then leave. Like, I don't know what the fuck is going on there. Literally, it seems to be what's going on with what they're doing. Yeah, no fucking clue. It's just frustrations upon frustrations. But I suppose the other thing is that the things I've got left aren't exactly heavy tasks. They're kind of, relatively easy, I think. I could have a look quick, but there isn't really much else to do exactly. I could farm fates in a Dawn Trail zone so I can get the gemstones, but not in a hurry for that because I'm only saving up for the pinky mount. I've got endgame here stuff which is already under works. I don't think there's monomics now. What the fuck happened actually? Mathematics for relic. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, it is mathematics. Yeah, I'm an idiot. It's pretty easy to figure out. But in between stuff, I've got Gold Sorcerer and Sightseeing logs. So basically things I could do in between: Extreme Boredom, Eureka, Positive Frags. Actually, we'll add Island Sanctuary as well, because there isn't really anything else there. But it's like, extreme boredom, nothing else to do, nothing else to play. Just made me feel like I'm winding. Also, I need to do my weeklies actually before I do anything else. It's Cap's in progress, jump Cactapult. Because I keep getting to do dailies for some reason. I don't know why I've written the dailies, have I? Also got a triple try collection to do. It's got to make a new armour for Dragoon potentially for the next set as well, if I get a new relic weapon. Craft quest I've got to do yet. That was the other thing that's going to do daily though. Yeah, daily, I was going to write it down actually. Daily treasure maps gargantuan plus daily cactus pot, I guess. I don't know if it's actually worth it, 10,000. It can be, but I don't know. Kind of hard to say. Yeah, like as for mounts, like ornamental shrub, the chandelier first light, feline team sport cart, gold saucer shit, silky from the variant Criterion dungeons, and high-end tank achievements. For some reason I've already done Paladin, the first one, but I've got the rest to do. There's Hot Rod, which I'll maybe do next patch, fuck that. And there's Vigo, there's PvP event, Mount Ginga Ginger, I've done a PvP event, Goten PvP event, Occult Crescent for the Demon Hawthorn, and obviously Pinky, and then Wanderer's Tale, and then that's basically it. And then I've got my Grey quest to do. Or basically the story quest rather for each zone, and I'm still going through it. Completed Eastern Fallon the other day, and Central Fallon. You know, I've done Order, Western Fallon, I just mentioned. And in Nimsat I've done pretty much everything, except for the Fisher job, which I'm not sure about doing. I think I could probably do it, but I'm not 100% sure. Apparently it takes weeks to do, which I don't even understand why. And then I've got... The only other thing left is Summoning Bell. Wait, what am I thinking? Ventures, that's it. All of these are from miners now. I've got everything else, but I just need 3 miner minions. But these seem to be very difficult to get because they don't drop. I need Wind Up Grebeloff, Wind Up Kangaroo, and Wind Up Mamurja. And I imagine they go for a ton of gills, so I don't know. If I get dupes, it's probably not bad, but either way, it sucks. And I wish you could change your class more easily. It would make sense if it retains the level when you change class for your retainer, but anyway. Yeah, that's my FFXIV sort of plans, I guess. There ain't really much to say on it. It's just, again, there's annoyances and there's good things, but that's for what I move on to in terms of taking a break from Final Fantasy XIV. It would be smaller indie games, so things I can do in the meantime. Maybe one big game. I could do just indie game, big game, essentially. So, like, how would I plan this? I want to play a recent game like Infinity Sweeper, which I think is coming out soon, and maybe Baba Review later. But then I want to play like a bigger game, like what have I got here? Got Bullets Per Minute. I still got to play that. Not sure how big it is, to be fair. But it's installed, so it might be worth a try. So yeah, rhythm first-person shooter, a bit like Mel Hellsinger. I've got like 672 games in my library of stuff I could play. Yep, I've collected quite a lot over the years. It seems like things on sale and things on the Jingle Jam. So I think some are just like downloads. Yeah, like I've played quite a few things. For some reason FL Studios there. I guess I added that actually. Is that possible? Hide this game. Remove non-Steam game from your library. Yeah, that makes sense. So maybe some of these things are not what they seem. But, you know, that's the plan really. I just want to get on with playing new games, and Infinity Sweeper will be one of them. So yeah, that's it. So anyway, let's move on. Well, I just finished Camp York 2026. Yeah, this is good streams, honestly. You know, every year there's like a different event, and usually it's Jingle Jam, but they've introduced Camp York for the last 3 years, and the first iteration of it was kind of like not the best one in my opinion, but they've improved it and it's definitely great still. But I want to go through obviously like what I've thought about everything. Have I got this? Yeah, I think a bit of it anyway. Just a note though, as I go through the best streams, Infinity Sweeper can be hit or miss. It really depends on the duos. I wouldn't say there's any that are just like miserable, but you know, you're just getting gameplay mostly with a bit of commentary. And obviously, with the nature of Infinity Sweeper, it looks good. I'll definitely give it a try myself as a somewhat fan of Minesweeper. I used to play it a bit. I played it on obviously PC and I played it on my phone a bit as well. I've had a decent amount of experience. The highest I ever did was probably like what was it? Probably like a 32 by 32 tile. Was it 30? I think it was 30 actually. Essentially, yeah. It's definitely a game. I'll say that I haven't tried this yet, so we'll have to wait for that. Which is interesting. So I'm just wasting my time here. I realise the reset at that time. Like, what else do I say? Like, it just looks like a decent game. There were some bugs I saw in the demo apparently, and the Yorks obviously brought this up as well. I mean, they said there were bugs. I think it was like tiles not appearing, or there's like a bug state where it's like soft locked, which is a very strange thing to have for a game like this. It seems quite unusual as well. So it makes me wonder if there's like a spaghetti code situation, which doesn't bode well for the game. And obviously we have to wait and see what the full release is like to see how well it plays, if it plays that is. Because you never know, this sort of shit happens unfortunately. And even though I trust a YOGSCAST published game will probably do well, both in terms of quality, gameplay, and general finishedness, if that's even a term. It's definitely might turn out well, but there's also got a chance not to. So again, just wait and see. It really isn't a big deal. I don't think so anyway. Yeah, like it's interesting. But anyway, the streams, because the streams obviously are the highlights of this, and unsurprisingly, the opening ceremony was really fun. That was day one. The usual sort of suspects in that. Just funny humour, great ideas, just a lot of great things. They made their own entries for being the camp your teams and stuff. Obviously, Team Honeydee versus Team Zephyrs. There's a bit of a mix-up this year with some people going to different teams, which I thought was definitely an interesting way to go about it. Yeah, like it's one of those things. It's just a good stream. And obviously, same day there was a Blood on the Block Tower, right? Yeah, that was great. As usual with Blood on the Clock Tower sort of content. There's not really anything to complain about with that, because it's honestly just good stuff. Then what else is there? I'm trying to think. That's it for Blood on the Clock Tower, but next stream is the next day. And the best one in that was probably poker. The poker was kind of fun. I did pay full attention to it, but the bits I did pay attention to, there were entertaining moments. It's just more poker with Piran and Tom. You can't really complain about that. And then the next day, I believe it was Survivor in Minecraft. It was quite fun. Had some interesting moments and fucking hell, that Ravsol and stuff, and the killing of the cat. There's also just the amount of chairs. I haven't seen Survivor before. I don't really want to see it, to be honest. It just seems like, it's a bit dumb. I've seen like Naked and Afraid before, which is only a clip of it rather. It looks interesting, but I don't know if I'll be able to watch it because they killed a snake on one of them. No, I don't know if that's the worst thing. I think there's worse things to see, but yeah. Wait, was it even a snake? I don't even know, but basically encourages animal cruelty, which isn't honestly that great. some reason I went that route instead of foraging, rather. But surviving Minecraft's fun. Next day, Yog speedruns. Yeah, this was entertaining. Got a range of speedruns. Unfortunately, you got a screeching warning here because that fucking happens for some reason with people, and I don't know why they haven't got a limiter on there. You know, the mics here to lower the ceiling, or at least keep the ceiling level. Because a lot of those fucking screeches just, I don't know why it happens. It's just so weird. Because the only Yog that I see that uses it is Kirsty, who I think can be commended for this because it's such a good feature to have. It just stops the sensory overwhelmingness of things, and you know, being autistic, being sensitive to that. I cannot stand it. I honestly tap out of a lot of streams when I hear the first screech because it's like, oh god, it's going to go this way, and it's like a sensory comfort thing, and I have to do it. There's no add-ons for it on Chrome Web Store anymore, but it never worked anyway when I used to use it. So it's often just kind of shitty. I hate that I have to do it, but it has to happen. Also, there's no EQ either, so there's no case of like absolutely suppressing the high end and low end. Like for example, when I saw like Sip streaming Satisfactory, I can't watch it because there's too many things going on that are just really badly balanced in the EQ. It's probably the game's issue because I hear it on all types of streams, or everyone else's streams rather. But it's like this really annoying high pitched sound that appears in about, I think, the 2K, 5K range. And it's like unbearable. It's so bad I have to tune out. I can't watch it. I'll probably watch anything else than that, even though it can be entertaining. It's just not worth it. But anyway, the next day there was RV There Yet, which was replaced with Pratfall, and that was actually kind of funny. It had a bunch of different Yonks there, RT game, it was Cupcakes, I believe. I think Mara was there. Elsie Ped was hosting it. Can't remember the other people there, but it looked entertaining. You can't really complain about it. And then, probably one of the best streams that they've ever done. Last York Laughing. Best one by far. It's a great concept and even greater execution. I fucking love the Guffer bit, especially. It was very entertaining, especially like Rouse and stuff. There's some genuinely surprising moments in that as well. Like, half films, people you wouldn't expect to be this good, but they're all fucking amazing at this. And yeah, it's definitely one of the best streams, both of Camp Yog and just Yog history, I think. There's so many genuinely funny moments and stuff. Especially going into the toilet. I can't believe they actually streamed that. I was a bit like, wait, what? I don't think you're allowed to stream this, are you? No. I think they did. But yeah, that was great. I've probably spoiled it, but you'll see. It's actually funnier than you think, because there's more happening on that. But then, of course, we got the last stream, which is the closing ceremony, and that was decent. Yeah, it's a pretty successful Camp Yog, I think. Definitely worth a watch if you haven't seen it already. But yeah, it's surprising. It's just great Yog content, and yeah, there's not a single day that I actually regret becoming a Yog member. There are those moments where I'm like, maybe I prefer my money not to be used for this sort of thing, you know, where they use unfortunately animal products, or go to a cafe and buy animal products. It's a bit like, it's a bit of a slippery slope in that sense. But I like when they hire out places and, you know, do like proper stuff like a Taskbox, or I think Tracers was one of them. There's also obviously Blood on the Clock Tower in real life, which I loved. That was great. But yeah, anyway, I didn't got anything else to add. But I think I might. Let me check. How long have I got? Okay, there's still a few bit of time on the podcast. So I might make an outro, but there's not really any point in that, because there's still quite a bit of space left. Anyway, yeah, it's been all. Well, I've been thinking. In Final Fantasy XIV, I just find myself kind of frustrated about the state of things, and it's got so many frustrating points, and one of them that really does not help in the slightest happens to be Blue Mage, which is currently an abandoned thing at this point. Like, it's literally nothing. It's a whole nothing burger with basically Blue Mage, because there's nothing happening. Like, it's so weird, but they literally do not do anything with Blue Mage, and it's kind of a waste. I can't wrap my head around why they would do this. It just doesn't make sense, in all honesty. I think one of the things about this they need to do, obviously, is to make Blue Mage relevant again. But at the moment, I don't see it being that relevant unless you're farming for, like, relic weapons, that sort of stuff. Excuse me if the gameplay stops. Let's quit the game. There we go. Wait, was it even recording? God, please tell me it was working. Okay, I think it was, yeah. Okay. That's some interesting moments, so that was a bit worrying. If I didn't record that, I would have been pretty angry, because it's pissed me off a lot of times. But the thing with Blue Mage is it's not very well designed, in my opinion. I've always had this viewpoint, probably since I started it, because I remember starting it and thinking, wow, the execution on this is terrible. Because it is terrible. I had players telling me, oh, Blue Mage is good, it's just like in the other games. I don't even know what the other games are like, because I haven't bloody paid them. They assume that everyone else has, and I haven't. I see Blue Mage, I think, what does this mean? Literally my first impression when I saw it said limited job, I thought it was FOMO, but it meant limited job as in limited to level. So it meant you can't use it in the end game, which is fair enough, but it's still shit. And the acquisition of spells was the biggest problem for me, in my opinion, because it required you to go into places you didn't have unlocked and places you didn't understand. So it basically meant if you hadn't practiced said content, you'd be fucked, and it's so hard to play Blue Mage anyway. And even with the leveling gimmick trick, which I'm surprised hasn't been patched yet, I'm surprised they haven't even had a log for it, like a challenge log, to level up Blue Mage over time. Like, there's no, the complete dungeon synced sort of thing, or, there's other ways to do it, but the point is they're just squandering the fucking opportunities everywhere. Like, left, right and centre, they don't even do anything with it anymore. And it's really concerning, given it had a lot of potential anyway. Are you kidding me? Like a tank that can cast magic like that? Like, that's cool. But they didn't do that. They fucked it up, as I said. They just don't give a shit, and that really screwed it over, I think. Yeah, the log was itself a problem, because you had to obtain it through doing all the Masked Carnival content, which I don't know why you'd even do that. Why, though? Because Blue Mage could have been so much better, but then you force people to go through this, I don't know what to call it, I'm trying to think of a term for it. Something slop anyway, that's basically what it is. Maybe Soul Slop, probably what I call it, because it's basically like Dark Souls, but you've got so much gimmick in it. It's like gimmick slop, I guess, I don't know. But basically, it's offensive to me playing it, and the fact there's no difficulty options completely pushed that point home. It was just, you have to play this our way. Fuck you if you don't like it. Oh, you have to use this very specific spell to beat this very specific boss. Fuck you. Like, of course, people are not going to enjoy it. And on top of that spell acquisition, you need groups to get it synced, and because you couldn't acquire it unsynced, where it very much could have justified a patch basically removing that, instead it forces you into that content. So rather than it being an incentive for the challenge log, instead it tells you, like, no, You have to do it synced to get 100% chance of the spell. But then they added stupider gank on top. Jank, I mean. It's kind of gank anyway. But if you get ganked during any sort of acquisition of a spell, you don't learn it. I think you have to be alive during both the casting and even obviously the death of the enemy. Could be wrong about that, but it's so bad. That's what I mean by it being terrible, and where they could have done an alternative where maybe like earn like certain currency to get to unlock spells like other methods, like via other methods. So maybe there's an alternative to Sonic Boom, for example, which is an extremely common spell because of its cast speed. In my opinion, it's not great. It's only good for high-end content where you need to move a lot, but not really good for anything else because it's less potency. And obviously with a group of like 24 or 8 blue mages, it's going to have an impact. It's going to be like 10 potency less damage, which is probably like how much of a DPS loss could that be? I don't know. But then there's a stupid thing with the rotation involving Moonflute, where instead of allowing you to just keep casting and have it like on cooldown, they essentially force you to wait 15 seconds to get rid of it, and there's no proof that it actually does increase damage. Because from my perspective, I don't know, like, it doesn't seem to do much. 100% increased damage for not that long, and it's like you spam it or something. It just never made any sense to me. So yeah, it's just shit. The acquisition was always kind of the problem for me, and even after completing it, I still felt very unsatisfied with it. Just felt it was very stupid, and then completing the Masked Carnival to the very end was frustrating. Doing the quest as well, tedious. I didn't expect it to be that tedious, to be honest. But I just didn't like it. It was such a terrible job to do. It's even worse than some of the harder ones, like Black Mage, for example, learning a new rotation with that, and even learning Ninja, which eventually I had to move towards doing the combos by memory, because in the end I couldn't actually have room for it, for doing like spells on just the hotbar. So yeah, that kind of sucks, but it did benefit me in the end, to be fair, with Ninja. And with Blue Mage, you also have to memorise different rotations, so you have your tank stuff, you have your healer stuff, which you have specific things for because they address specific problems. And even then, one of the most useful tank abilities, or probably a few, are just so gimmicky and that they're not even there. I remember using like Cact Barrier, I think it was. I can't remember what it's actually called. Well, I was doing one of the Shadowbringers dungeons after I'd got that, and essentially saved one of the blue mages from dying with that ability. It's like, oh, actually this is kind of useful, especially if you're doing tank content where another blue mage would benefit from it. But yeah, it's just really poorly executed. And on top of that, they have stupid cast times for some of these abilities. Like, what the fuck are you thinking? Shalonian Gate requires a cast time, I think. It doesn't make sense. Shit doesn't make any sense. I don't really get it. It'll make my throat feel weird. But yeah, moving on though from that, there's the weekly incentive to do the Masked Carnival, and every week I dreaded this, to be honest. I fucking detest it. But I don't know why I haven't removed the relevant thing. There we go. But I just detest it, in all honesty, because it just isn't fun. It's the same way that the Unreal trials are at the moment. They aren't even remotely that fun. There's nothing interesting going on. It's a gimmick again. There's too many stupid things in it. But I just hate having to go through all the fucking spells to just get the right ones in there, and I just don't fucking follow it. You have to follow a guide as well if you want to actually be successful in those. So it's not a case of like reading it, making your choices. It's very much possible to do that. I used to do it, but I started to struggle, and I just thought, what's the point? All this for some Etherite tickets, when I could just go on an A train, which mainly isn't as reliable, but I could still try, like the Stormblood ones, better chance, Heaven's Walls, low chance, Realm Reborn, impossible. But you can still get the required currencies, and even S ranks, which can be spawned, I think. They give you an amount. I think the Stormblood ones are probably best because they don't die as fast. If they are Stormblood ones, I'm pretty sure they are. For some reason I wasn't sure if it was. But that's exactly what I mean. Is why bother farming this when I could do it elsewhere? And the same with Poetics. I could just do roulettes, which are more fun and more interesting. And also, that's the other thing. Last Carnival's shit also because it's not group content. In a fucking MMO. Like what? Even though you could do the log doesn't reward enough. The max rank for Last Carnival gives you about, I think, 240 allied seals. Then, hang on. Wait a minute. Okay, I thought I smelled, it's my toilet plunger smell because it has a weird smell. I smelled it on myself for a second. I was like panicking a bit, like what? Just touched that. It's like, ew. It's probably an OCD thing. But, you know, that's what happens when you have a really bad household. Also, a really bad game as well with stupid design choices like this. But yeah, it just genuinely doesn't make any sense to me. So I just don't see any point in doing the weeklies at this point. Because Beastmaster is probably going to replace Blue Mage. I don't know what it's going to be like. So I'm curious to see like what you can, like Spawn for example. So if I can like get a, I know you can get a Gobu. I'm trying to think of anything else goofy. Who else is there even you could get in a Realm Reborn? I don't know, like Ziz. I can't even think. I'm trying to think of funny things. There's no way you can tame a sylph, can you? That'd be fucking weird. But you're going up to sylph lands with that. Like, hello, do your allied society quest, like, oh, I see you've enslaved a sylph. Well, go ahead. I'm not going to question it. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, Blue Mage, fucking stupid. I'll actually just give up at this point. There's much better things that I could do in my time with that, and probably better ways to get. Also, I got the odds as well. I forgot about that. Plenty of better ways to get Etherite tickets. But even then, the only ones worth doing with that are probably the S ranks, and that does take a bit of time on the week, but it does allow me to queue. So actually, I might write that down. Let's see. Where can that come off to custom deliveries? Are the Blue Mage weekly still there? What did I just delete? I didn't delete anything, okay. Blue Mage weekly is replaced with S ranks. That's for seals. Aerial. A here. Oh, it's just Stormblood. There we go. Stability. There we go. So yeah, I've got that sort of sorted out. That's no idea. Yeah, that'll be better to do because it's less stress, and you know you have to find it first, which is annoying. And then like you have to sort of look at the map as well to figure out where to actually fly around before it actually spawns. That's the worst thing about the hunts though, you just can't find them very quickly. I think the only ones that do that are probably around Reborn. Remember that sort of saying it quite far away. Everything else is kind of shit. Yeah, I just genuinely do not like Blue Mage. So anyway, I think I might make an outro here though, because this has actually gone on for a while. I didn't realise. See, the original recording would have gone on for a bit. Before I do that, do I have any more suggestions to fix Blue Mage? But better incentive for group content, better acquisition of spells, obviously, and the alternative for it as well. So, you know, buying spells that are doing the same things or similar, but for a different method. So you can do the synced content, you know, with a group or whatever, but you could do it another way, and then probably co-op for. Actually, co-op for Mars Carnival would be fucking insane. That would actually be pretty fun. Imagine doing like a full group and you know, you're doing like, I don't know, the ones where you have to pull the thingies on them. You have this like clusterfuck who your team basically is trying to pull them all onto the nodes, and there's a potential there. But, you know, whatever they do at this point is Square Enix. Never say I agree with that sort of shit, but yeah, anyway, thanks for watching the podcast. Let's move on.